WrestleMania 41 is in the books, and we're here to talk about all the fallout, all of the happenings, everything that went down on WrestleMania night 1 and 2, as well as the Raw after WrestleMania. Was it the most epic Raw of the year? I don't know. My panel and the boys here will sound off tonight as we recap WrestleMania 41, SmackDown, Raw, NXT, and we find out, was I finally able to dethrone Pete and take the off the mat championship away from him? Boys, how's it going? How was your WrestleMania weekend, Easter weekend? A lot of stuff going on. Star Wars. Dom had a chubby all weekend. Star Wars, wrestling. It was just insane in the Domtober household, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, also deal with some family issues, personal things. But other than that, it was a crazy weekend. There was a lot going on, a lot to take in, but there was a lot of wrestling that really was off the charts. Some things could have been better, but there's a lot of excitement, a lot of things that are happening. The new era of wrestling is upon us, and who knows what's going to happen, man. All I know is it was very interesting, the Monday Night Raw, even though it wasn't the most epic Monday Night Raw, but it did have moments that really was like, wow, like holy shit moments. So
our insight man said that Dom came back into work on Monday, right arm a little bit stronger and looking very dehydrated after he suffered through a weekend full of Stephanie Vakir on his TV every step of the way.
Poor man. What a poor man.
I want to start off. We're going to talk about WrestleMania. And we're going to talk about WrestleMania ad nauseum, all the parts of it. But I want to start off with getting your guys' thoughts on the big announcement we got on night 1 of WWE purchasing AAA. What do you think that means? Are they going to change it to?
Well, Alberto Del Rio was fired as soon as they purchased it, and he was gone. Which it makes sense. It kind of sucks though. He was a champion there. You know, I don't know. There's a lot of mixed feelings about that in the wrestling world. A lot of wrestlers, they're saying, are not really happy that
it's going to depend on how they handle
exactly
the thing. Now, I'm pretty sure. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure at one point I had said something about this on one of our programs when they unofficially announced it like a month or so ago. I'm pretty sure I had said something, and now we get the official.
Yeah, you made the comment WWE was buying Lucha Libre, and then it was very close to the chest, though. There was really no signs of it coming out, and then all of a sudden, WrestleMania weekend, they decide, hey, now's the time. Let's talk about it. We're purchasing AAA.
You know, I think that's a big move. That's a good move.
It's a very big move.
Very big move, and it's a good move because now you get really a lot of those Latin wrestlers that are going to be high flyers that are going to come in that can really work their way to become the next big thing in WWE, you know, NXT. So they got, like I said, you know, purchasing something like that is a game stopper, you know, because the possibilities, you know, it all depends on how they work it and how they look. Like I said, you know, they got rid of the champion who was there, and figured out Alberto Del Rio, which I understand, but at the same time, that kind of sucks. You know, I know he's an asshole, but where else is this guy gonna go now? AEW?
They don't care.
That's the price you pay for
being an asshole.
Being an asshole, yeah.
Yep. You know, I had the pleasure of having him in Soraya in my hotel, and he was an asshole in the elevator. He wanted to fight everybody. And like, yo, please hit me. Please hit me. You know, definitely I can use the money. You know. But yeah, but back to the AAA, I think that's a bold, big move. I think that's kind of a what you got AEW type of thing, because because basically it opens up a forbidden door too for WWE to do that thing, because now isn't that the rumor that Forbidden Door is now a part of that the WWE can be part of that too as well, so you can have anybody wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, you could have anyone from NXT, from TNA, from AAA. There's still The Rock, the Dwayne, sitting out there with a Rubik's Cube and a New Japan Pro Wrestling shirt on. There's talks of them potentially buying New Japan or getting into some sort of partnership like they have with TNA with New Japan. It just feels like they're slowly trying to apply that chokehold to Tony Khan and AEW, because AEW announced a show in Mexico and a partnership there, and then WWE is like, hold my beer, WrestleMania weekend, we're gonna go ahead and announce our acquisition of AAA.
Yeah, so they're cornering the market. They're freaking they're taking getting the market. And look, AEW had opportunities of getting some.
Hello from Ireland. What's
hey, how are you?
Play?
Hey,
I actually, like I said, like AEW had opportunities to purchase some things too, and I think things fell through and didn't work out for them. And
I think what happened was WWE came in with a higher bid.
Yeah.
So,
hey, look, AEW may put out more money on the table for wrestlers, but when it comes to acquiring businesses, I think WWE has unlimited money, which is kind of crazy.
AEW is always trying to take people away from WWE, but WWE has such a bigger backstage than they do. They can just pull other people in.
Well, WWE no matter what you do, WWE is the mecca. It's if you want to make the biggest paycheck, that's where you go. No matter what Tony Khan can pay you, if you want your star to shine the brightest, it's still WWE. Like AEW is not looked at that like that. They're not even really looked at as they're looked at somewhat as a competitor, but they're not even looked at WWE at the same level as like WCW was.
Yeah, WWE is definitely the grandest stage on the planet for wrestlers.
That's correct. Yep. It says AEW is just a massive Toys R Us for Tony Khan with his real life wrestlers.
You're right.
Absolutely. Shadowplay.
Absolutely. And look, not to knock AEW for what they have. They put on some good shows, but it is just the atmosphere, how things are played out. Look, he wants to go extreme. He wants to do everything he has to try to make AEW on the map. Just wrestle. Just wrestle.
Here's what I'll say about AEW. AEW has they have good talent that creates great matches. I don't believe they're the business side of it, they're doing very well. I don't think they market it well. I don't think they handle it well. But the talent makes the matches and pushes it.
Hey, look,
how many the best go to wrestle, Styx? It's where the best go to wrestle.
So how many wrestlers are going to eventually jump the way out and come over to WWE in the next couple of years? In the next 5 years, I guarantee.
But it's always going to be a back and forth game.
Yeah, take one day, you got to take a couple of hours back and forth. But you know what? Yeah. Okay, I'll go back to the fact with AAA. I think that actually that was the big pipe bomb that was dropped, saying, "What you got now?" And if New Japan with The Rock, if something works out with that, we'll see. Like I said, TNA.
TNA. TNA is going to be TNA.
So TNA
again with AAA. Depending on how they handle AAA, whether they try to incorporate it, which I hope they don't. I hope they try to keep AAA, because they've thrived as their own for so long. I don't think they need to bring WWE really into the mix.
Yep.
Except for the luchadors we have.
Shadow says, how can you drop the bag with Ethan Page, Malachi Black, and Ricky Starks like Tony did? Not to mention Miro.
Yep.
But all right. I just hope that they keep AAA Mania. I think that was my first introduction to AAA, was a AAA Mania that is absolutely wild and crazy.
Yep.
I want them to keep AAA as wild and crazy as they possibly can. Who
Agreed.
knows?
Agreed.
I'd hope they keep it AAA and they don't change it to NXT Mexico like a lot of people are saying that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be treated as a developmental brand. It needs to be treated as its own separate thing.
Exactly.
Where you can have, you can have wrestlers come and go and all that, but I don't want it to be an NXT Mexico. I want it to be its own separate thing. But all right, Styx and I talked at nausea. Oh, go ahead, Styx. You got
just really quick. I think in the next year or two, Rey Mysterio will be running AAA.
Most likely when he's done with WWE.
Or having some big to do with it, So that's all I'm going to say.
Shadow disagrees. I want to see so much Vikingo in NXT. All right, switching gears. Styx and I talked at nauseum about night one of WrestleMania.
Oh my God.
Dom could not be on that show because of his family obligations. So I want to know what Dom's first thought of WrestleMania is collectively, and of course the panel's overall thought of WrestleMania. Do you think this was a good WrestleMania, or do you think this was potentially one of the worst WrestleManias we've ever had?
I don't think it was one of the worst WrestleManias. I think it was a good WrestleMania. If you wanted to go see, the matches were okay. There were some good matches. It wasn't up there like last year. Last year, the anticipation with Cody Rhodes finishing his story, that whole thing, the bloodline, the bloodline in full effect, and everybody helping it. That was something. This WrestleMania was more of a laid-back WrestleMania.
Let me throw a caveat on that real quick, Dom. Not to interrupt you. Do you think it was worth the potential $30,000 people were paying for ringside floor seats?
No, because the reason why it was because you're in Vegas. Big bucks are spent in Vegas, so they wanted to capitalize off the Vegas friggin' spotlight. That's why big bucks were there. Was it a WrestleMania that could have been just a pay-per-view that could have been during the year? Yes, it could have been. It could have been a regular pay-per-view type of thing. It wasn't the grandest stage. Look, like I said, the triple threat match with Seth Rollins, Punk and Roman Reigns was phenomenal. I enjoyed that. I thought that the stakes were high. I thought that everything in that match, they gave it all, and I enjoyed that. That was great. I don't think the rest of the matches were like so. I would have rather Io Sky fought somebody else and had Rhea Ripley and freaking Bianca Belair fight for a supremacy.
Yeah,
out the belt.
I still thought their match was good.
I really, look, if I can, how do you not have Karrion Kross in his hometown wrestle? Which we're gonna get to that pipe bomb that he freaking dropped, which was fucking an awesome pipe bomb.
Well, you brought it up. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it right now, because he competed in Bloodsport for GCW over the weekend, but he was not on the Mania card.
Nope.
And he had he joined Sam Roberts, which if you're a wrestling fan and you haven't checked out the Not Sam Wrestling podcast, I recommend doing that. I like to watch his stuff. He joined Sam Roberts on the WrestleMania recap show the next day on Monday, and he absolutely unleashed.
And
absolutely unleashed.
I loved it. I know that part of it's work and part of it's not. And I
don't think any of it. I think it's all real.
Yeah, I think that
frustrated. He's trying to make something out of nothing.
Yep.
And he just went off. Gasmat says not having Kross on made us not uninterested in Mania.
And that's crazy. It kind of sucks that you would have this dude that lives there that he could have been in one way or form. You had him come out with the AJ match. AJ Styles lost. Yeah, and that whole big thing. You're gonna probably get an AJ Styles match versus Karrion Kross down the road again, which makes no sense. Karrion Kross should be freaking goddamn having a belt around him. That dude has been doing so much throughout the year, even though he hasn't been in the ring, just his presence. And it really, I don't know why they're misusing him. You know, it makes no sense that you have a talent that can actually be a freaking badass, man. You know, you could have had the Joker, Harley Quinn, Natural Born Killers. You could have had that type of act with them as they play the part as the bad guy. And really, you know, I don't know why. And you know what? You're right. And come and think of it, you know, just a second thinking about that whole the interview.
Oh, you're good, Gas Mask. No worries.
You know, I think that you're right. I don't think it was work. I think it really was frustration coming from him.
Well, I think it was monstrous frustration because in his promo he calls AJ Styles by his first name. There was a thing released. I can't remember who did it. I can't remember who put it out beforehand, but there was like a things you don't do at WrestleMania, and calling wrestlers by their real world names was one of them. So usually when a wrestler refers to another wrestler by their government name, that there's some truth being dropped there. And if you didn't see it, Karrion Kross said, all I asked Alan, that's AJ Styles, to do was for once not think about just himself, think about everybody in the back, think about the professional wrestling fan. That's all I wanted him to do. Sometimes to do just do the right thing. You had to do the wrong thing, and he's a narcissist, and he has to do it his way. Hey, Alan, how many more WrestleManias do you have in your system? Probably, I don't know, one. Maybe it's just the last one, and you just pissed that away for what? For what? For your way. Thanks a lot, bud. I really appreciate it. And then he continued on to say, I never asked to wrestle Randy. I never asked. That happened organically, and you just ignored it for a viral moment. After his performance in the Battle Royal, Andre the Giant Battle Royal Friday night on SmackDown, I did see a lot of people in the wrestling community and the IWC specifically saying Karrion Kross deserves to be Randy Orton's mystery opponent. He said, good on Joe Hendry, who ended up being Randy's WrestleMania opponent. Nothing against him, but you ignored it. And the crowd told you exactly how they felt about me on SmackDown when I was eliminated from the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and you ignored it. Become undeniable my ass. You want a viral moment? On behalf of all the true fans, the professional wrestling fans, guys with the suit and tie in the truck, go fuck yourself. That's from Killer Kross. Is he going back to Killer Kross? Or is Karrion Kross and Killer Kross going to be this like different levels of intensity that he's going to unleash at some time, like we have with The Rock with the Final Boss and the People's Champ and all that? Like, do you see it being different levels, or do you see this as a transformation of, all right, I'm not going to go by Karrion Kross anymore. I'm going to go by Killer Kross, and it's going to be a level of intensity that I go into?
I actually think you're right. I think it could be Killer Kross. I think, he was getting his point out. Like he dropped, he did a freaking CM Punk freaking promo like no other. The way he went off, dropped that pipe bomb, which really freaking was freaking great, phenomenal. And when I watched that, I was like, oh shit, I hope that opens the door to let them in the back with the suits understand you have a talent that's wasted, that's being wasted. His contract is almost up, and you're going to let him go? I think he's one of the best heels, or heel or whatever personality he's playing, that he plays both sides of the stick. Good, bad, this and that. And he should be a main event thing. He should have fought Randy Orton. And I understand that you bring in Joe Hendry, you want to bring him in there, and fine, that got a pop, but you made Joe Hendry look weak. Freaking champion over in goddamn TNA. You're making him look freaking weak against getting back-to-back freaking goddamn RKOs. Just for a moment, just for a WrestleMania moment. I think you're right. If he would have fought Karrion Kross, I think that would have been a great match. Even though, yeah, Randy, they would put Randy over and made him win, of course. But at least have him fight, showing what he's capable of doing.
Yeah.
And that's
Shadow Play says, I'd pair Kross with Aleister Black. Yeah, that'd be a good tag team. And he said, people haven't looked at Kross the same since that gimmick Vince gave him, pairing him with the Black and build him again. He still thinks Nick Aldis should have been WrestleMania opponent for Orton. I agree. It would have made sense for the story, but Joe Hendry is a fun thing too. Gasmat says, folks are saying Kross could join Paul Heyman's new Deadly Alliance. That would be cool. I could definitely see that. I definitely don't think we're done seeing people being added to that.
Nope.
And Shadow Play says, if you give Kross creative freedom, he could.
Yeah.
And I absolutely agree.
Agree.
And he was good in NXT. I think he could be great in WWE. I think they could use more of his, like Dom says, kind of devil puppeteer gimmick in the background. And I'd like to see where they go with that. But it's just frustration. You're in your hometown. You're not on the WrestleMania card. You're there. You could be. There's no reason for you not to be. There's that open slot. But it was good on Joe Hendry because obviously WWE has a lot of stock in Joe Hendry. And it's clear, much like Jordan Grace, that once his TNA deal's done, he's WWE bound anyways. So they're just already trying to get the jump on getting him in front of the WWE fan. And when he came out, yeah, he had the TNA strap on, but he was wearing a WWE branded WrestleMania shirt. He was not wearing Joe Hendry gear. He was not wearing anything promoting TNA other than that TNA World Heavyweight Championship.
Yep.
Gasmet says, nothing against Joe Hendry, Ray Phoenix, and Penta, but they did nothing to earn those WrestleMania spots like Kross did. I disagree with you on Penta because Penta has been killing it since he came into WWE.
Yeah.
He's worked his way up.
Yeah.
He deserved his spot in that fatal four-way. I'll give you Ray Phoenix. Ray Phoenix has only been there 2-3 weeks.
He was thrown in though.
He was throwing him in because he's a huge star. He's a big name, and they had to replace Rey Mysterio. And they had to keep it because I think their end game is going to be a mask for mask match with El Grande Americano to finally unmask him to be Chad Gable. That's their end game. And it's going to be Rey Mysterio that does that. Him beating Phoenix just ups his stock in the current gimmick he's got. And they're going to push him forward till we finally get that match, probably SummerSlam, since SummerSlam's tonight. Shadow Play says, what about Dragon Lee? Can you see a heel turn? He has overlooked by Ray for Phoenix or WrestleMania.
Maybe.
Potentially, but I think they're going to keep him face for a while because they are billing him as the future of Lucha Libre. So I think they're going to keep him with Ray to kind of hone his skills a little bit more and just perfect things before a heel turn. I think right now, if he does a heel turn, people are going to compare it to what Carlito did or what Santo Escobar did. You're going to start getting some comparisons there. I don't think they want.
Dragon Lee teaming up with Ray as a tag team.
Yeah.
That down the road, for the time being. Yeah.
But from one WrestleMania, thoughts on night 2. Let's just talk about WrestleMania for a minute, and then because I really want to get into the Rock's comments because I really wanted to do a show live on Tuesday after he got off the McAfee. Like I wanted to tell work, listen, I'm sick, I'm leaving, I need to do this because his comments, which I have on McAfee, pissed me off, absolutely pissed me off. Yep. And from what I've seen, they've pissed off a lot of people in the wrestling community. But let's talk WrestleMania overall. Night 1 and 2. Night 1, Styx and I were live, and we said many times that crowd was dead. That crowd was flat. That crowd had no life whatsoever.
No, they put no juice into those wrestlers as they were performing. Nothing.
The triple threat match. And I agree with what you said, Dom, 100%. Every other match on night 1 felt like it could have been on a Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
That triple threat match of Rollins, Reigns, and Punk saved night 1. Absolutely saved night 1.
Mm-hmm.
That could go down as one of the best triple threat matches I've ever seen. That paired with the women's triple threat match.
Yep.
Both those matches were by far and away my favorite matches.
That woman was
WrestleMania.
really great. Yeah. Yeah, that triple threat match, that's when the crowd finally came alive. I mean, they finally woke up and said, oh, shit, I'm at WrestleMania. I better start cheering. Because they hadn't been all night.
Yeah.
That main event triple threat night one was pure cinema. But my only critique is I don't like the way they set up the Heyman turn, because it was very evident the way he was like stalkerishly getting next to Punk that he was going to low blow him. And the same thing with Roman. Like you could just see it coming.
As soon as Roman did this.
Yeah. And I like the little wiggle there.
Yep.
But
Heyman
went on McAfee on Monday and just absolutely cooked everybody.
Oh, you seen that?
I was watching it live. He cooked everybody.
Did you see when he was on the after show? He was talking. He was telling the dude, "You're gonna get deported." And then he's like, "You know what?" He goes, "Your mom blow." You know, he was like talking like in the stands, like when somebody said something. I was like, "Damn, man." You see, look, some of the creative shit that The Rock has put out, because we all know that The Rock is behind some of the creative stuff that's going on. And Triple H is supposed to be the creative the storyteller, but The Rock does try to put his insight. And you're right about the whole thing with The Rock, with the WrestleMania freaking match. And that kind of blows because, when John Cena turned heel, we were all figuring, our jaws all dropped. And like, this is going to be freaking sick, man. Rock is going to be coming out, putting out promos. He'll be doing things. It's going to be John Cena. It's going to be like a nonstop thing. And Travis freaking Scott might come out and do something stupid. Nothing. And it made no sense. Even the promos, when Cena came out, when they were overseas, fell flat. He was complaining like he was a spoiled, rotten like kid that he was that someone took his toy and he fucking couldn't get it back, type of shit.
Let me preface this. I've heard from some pretty reliable people that Cena's heel turn was not supposed to happen until WrestleMania. That heel turn was supposed to take place on night 2 of WrestleMania against Cody. Now, we got it at Survivor Series or at Elimination Chamber. Okay. The draw for the rest of the year is Cena chasing 17, right? And a lot of you are new to this show. We've got a lot of new followers this weekend after our WrestleMania stuff, which thank you. We've been saying the entire time, the interesting thing is Cena's chase for 17. Do you think, and that we've booked these Elimination Chamber, Rumble, Elimination Chamber, and I think WrestleMania better than Triple H did? Do you think now, after what we got in that main event, Cena winning 17 was absolutely the right choice?
Of course.
At Mania.
Yeah.
But now you ask yourself, was it a better call to have Cena lose at Mania, to continue that chase, go into put himself in Money in the Bank, go into Money in the Bank, win Money in the Bank, and win the belt that way, versus winning it without The Rock, who started all of this, and only winning it because of Travis fucking Scott?
Yeah. I think you're right about the Money in the Bank. That he would win Money in the Bank and then try to cash it in whenever he has to get a chance. And then one of the big pay-per-views, he would cash it in. And, look, like I said, I don't know what the whole story is with The Rock. I know The Rock is going to be bullshitting and saying, yeah, I wanted WrestleMania to be for John Cena, not for The Rock and stuff like that. I actually personally think maybe Triple H told Rock, listen, you take the spotlight off the character, when you're here, and I think they had a little fallout. They had to have a little fallout, disagreement. definitely had,
Absolutely.
because you can't start a storyline. And that's like the second time he started the storyline and he screwed up. The Cody, the Mama Rhodes thing, when he beat the shit out of Cody, the next day, she's drinking and having so what the hell?
The Rock, here's what happens.
Gas Mask
The
says
Rock-
Cena losing at Mania would have been a waste of a heel turn. I disagree, and we'll
No.
talk about it in a minute.
Yeah.
We'll talk
I think the
about
Rock. I think the Rock is handling WWE like he handled his football career. He's always dropping the ball at this point.
it. So,
Yep.
The Rock went on
Top
McAfee on
Yep.
Tuesday. Didn't show up. Posted on social media that he was at his house in Hawaii for Mania. Didn't come to Raw Monday night. Decides to show up via satellite on the Pat McAfee show. He says about Elimination Chamber. He says, I got a call about a month before Elimination Chamber. I got a call from Ari Emanuel, who owns TKO. He said, we need help at Elimination Chamber. Ticket sales are a little slow. Ticket sales are slow because you're charging damn near the same amount for a small house to go to a live event.
Yep.
You're charging what somebody could potentially pay for a kidney donation for a WWE live event.
Give my kidney 30,000. I'll go.
Yeah.
Yep.
But beyond that, what we're finding is because the pay-per-view that is interesting, fans have had fun, but it's also to conclude the condition to WrestleMania. How do we create an elimination chamber that people must tune in to see? How do we create that? Right now, we don't have that. Will the final boss show up? I said, let me give it some thought, and I'll get back to you. I gave it some thought. I got back to Ari, Triple H, Nick Khan, and we had a call. Then in his comments about Cody Rhodes, okay, he said, in the Soul, he said, I have an idea. The most important thing for the final boss isn't money, titles, fame. He's been there, done that, and grateful for that. The final boss wants your soul. What does that mean? That means the final boss wants you to act like this or be like this at his beck and call and treat you like crap or make you do all the things that you're unbecoming or is embarrassing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Elimination Chamber thing. This is what he had to say. We'll get back to the Elimination Chamber thing. This is what he had to say about WrestleMania 41. He said, I stepped away from WrestleMania 41 because I didn't feel it, and I made the call. I don't want to be involved in that. Let the final boss step back into the shadows. Let all the spotlight go to John and Cody. Let's not make it about Cody's soul or John's soul. Let's let them do what they do. I called John after Elimination Chamber, called Cody, and I said, I think the final boss work is done. We've established it. We just pull off the greatest angle in history for professional wrestling, other than Hulk Hogan turning heel. We have 6 weeks now. Let's build. What the fuck are you talking about? It's time for the final boss to pull back. You created this angle. You created this.
Exactly.
All of this was done because of you. Okay? You created this heel Cena. You created the sell me your soul. Cody did the most babyface thing, told you to go fuck yourself. Cena turned. You did the throat slash with the 2. What do you mean? You're the reason that WrestleMania fell flat. Gas messes, I think they pulled the trigger on Cena early because of the loss of hype of WrestleMania. The Rock is the reason WrestleMania lost hype.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Everyone wanted to see what was next. They wanted to see heel Cena. And what we got was John Cena being a whiny little bitch about the fans and then turning around and not mentioning The Rock. We got no mention of The Rock. We got no mention of anything.
Yep.
And this is what made me mad is you're saying that you're setting up this angle and now you're pulling away and saying, oh, well, the final boss's work here is done. And just so that way you can spark up Cody's soul here, Cody's soul there down the road. What are you talking about? I really think that there's some sort of backstage conflict between The Rock, Ari Emanuel, Tony Khan, Triple H, whoever, and The Rock didn't get his way. he got his feelings hurt, and he said, you know what? I'm taking my ball and going home. I'm not coming to WrestleMania. Because I can't remember. I'm trying to find the Shadow Play says the WrestleMania store had Rock finally has come back to Las Vegas t-shirts on sale. I think that was a dirty move by WWE, The Rock leading people on like that. I think he got his feelings hurt and said, you know what? I'm taking my ball and going home. I'm staying in Hawaii. I'm not coming to WrestleMania. So we can't blame Triple H. Night one, I blame Triple H for 100%. That was his poor ass booking up until that main event. Night two, I'm not blaming that on Triple H. He was cooking right up until that main event. I blame that main event on The Rock. Because if The Rock shows up, it's a completely different story. I think The Rock not showing up and for whatever reason deciding not to show up put Triple H in a hard spot to where all he had to rely on was Travis Scott. It's the only thing that made sense.
Travis Scott.
Imagine if we don't get the Cena heel turn at Elimination Chamber. Imagine if Cena's about to lose and we get the Travis Scott Rock angle at Mania. Cena hits the low blow, hits Cody with the belt, pins him 1, 2, 3. Cena wins the title then. Imagine how much better his heel turn would be then.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It just the Rock saying, I felt like it was time for the final boss to bow out is the most ridiculous bullshit I've ever heard. Talk about killing a storyline, potentially not taking the focus. You say you want John Cena and Cody Rhodes to have that focus. You essentially took that off of them and put it on yourself because for whatever reason, you're upset and decided not to show up to WrestleMania. Your biggest event. You decided not to show up to WrestleMania. I don't think WWE wanted to pull the trigger on Cena Orton so quick. And I think the reason they're doing that is because of what happened with The Rock. We have no reason. There's no reason to even have Travis Scott come out anymore. There's no reason for it. There's no reason to think that there's going to be a faction that The Rock is pulling the strings behind the scenes and John Cena is the leader of. Because we're not going to get any more Rock.
No.
I think it's time for The Rock to stay away. If The Rock isn't going to come to television and he's not going to follow through on what he's doing, stay away from creative, stay off TV, just stay away.
And like I said, that was twice already. Twice already that he screwed up storylines that could have potentially been bigger than what they were, could have been huge for story purposes and for the shows. And I don't know, I'm not going to say like other people are saying that he's trying to sabotage wrestling, for the fans and stuff like that. I think you're right. I think there were some differences in opinions on what he wanted to do, what Triple H wanted to do, and he was told, let Triple H do what he has to do. He's creative, and he was probably hurt saying, you know what, the heck with it, let him do what he got to do, and then that he sacrificed storyline because he was upset that he didn't get his way. And like I said, that's twice already. You know what? If you're not going to follow through and have a cohesive storyline, don't even bother coming back.
No. If you can't get along with the people in charge, why bother?
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that he can't get along with the people in charge. I think it's that he thought last year at 40 that he was just going to push his way in because he's The Rock and people love him and they want him to come back. He thought he was going to push his way in and take that spot from Cody. When he couldn't do that, and Triple H said, "Well, we got an audible man, and we got to put Cody. We got to change this and put Cody back in here. That's what the people want." He got mad. Same thing now. I think there's something else he wanted, and they said no because it doesn't make sense for the story. Because from what I hear, The Rock and his people come in because he's got his own writers and all that. The Rock and his people come in and they try to change creative.
Yep.
I think that's what happened. And Hunter said, dude, we're too far into this. We are weeks away from WrestleMania. We're too far into this. We can't do that. It makes no sense. He got butthurt and was like, you know what? Fine, then I'm out. And he's not going to say that. Nobody's going to say that because he's on the board. But that's what it feels like, especially if there's people that were there saying that they're selling shirts that say finally The Rock has come back to Las Vegas. If WWE is printing those shirts and branding those shirts, that tells you he was supposed to be there.
Yep.
The way the minute it finishes, it has that he was supposed to be there all over it. You're telling me that at Elimination Chamber, Travis Scott comes out, cups Cody in the ear, gives him a black eye, and supposedly busts his eardrums. And the only receipt he gets at WrestleMania is probably one of the sorriest looking crossroads I've ever seen. Right. What are we doing here? And all those people that paid to go to WrestleMania, not only for it to be John Cena's last WrestleMania, but to see The Rock.
Yep.
Left holding their bag because he didn't want to show up. The fact that he came out on McAfee and addressed why he wasn't there tells me that there's some sort of rift or some sort of backstage happenings as to why he wasn't there. It wasn't just that, oh, well, I thought that it's time for the final boss to go. What do you mean? You set all this up. You are these linchpin in all of this.
It makes no sense.
It makes zero sense. And what I think it was is he made the comments of potentially how great of a story it would be to turn Cody Rhodes heel. I think WWE said no. I think the creative Triple H and them said no. We're not ready for Cody to go heel yet, because he made the comment multiple times about Cody going heel and how he has a good heel running him, and yet he's got another a good baby face running him down the road. I really think it was they wanted to turn Cody heel. Hunter said no. Rock got mad. And then that's when Hunter was like, well, what about Cena? Oh, yeah, okay, I can see how that works. That's interesting. But they took all of the press. You had people at ESPN. You had people at news organizations that don't even follow wrestling. You had influencers that don't follow wrestling come into the space and start cover wrestling because of this John Cena heel turn. And you do nothing with it. We get John Cena on TV for 3 weeks. And you get nothing with it. We didn't have John Cena on TV for what, almost a month after Elimination Chamber? Before we get the European tour?
Yep.
3 weeks, no build.
Yep. No mention, no friggin' Teletron, friggin' Titantron, whatever the shit's called, the friggin' Rock coming out on satellite saying anything, nothing. And it really sucks because there was a lot of potential in this whole storyline. This whole damn storyline had a potential.
Yeah, he said, who would be afraid of a dude like Travis Scott, who's built like a bag of milk, walking into the ring? What about The Rock pinning Cody at WrestleMania 41? Is that all for nothing? And that's the other thing, is that apparently so. I see you corrected. He said WrestleMania 40. Apparently so, but it's also speaks to the ego now of The Rock. It's his whole end game to form some sort of thing where we get a heel Cody down the line, and that heel Cody does something to Roman Reigns, and The Rock comes back to win the title off of heel Cody to be the people's champ again, so that way he can face Roman Reigns and hand the belt back over to his cousin before he rides off into the sunset for good. It just feels like an ego play here. And I love Dwayne. I love The Rock. It feels like there's just so much ego that we can't get past here.
Yeah.
Shadow says, my friend who traveled to Mania from here in Ireland said people were so pissed at the finish, including himself. I understand why.
Definitely.
We were pissed.
We bought people like us, people like JD from NY, people like, going in Raw, Busted Open Radio. We speculated on what The Rock was going to do at Mania for weeks. They blue balled us. You can't tell me you didn't, when you heard Travis Scott's music hit, you weren't waiting for the doom, 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 doom after it and The Rock to come out behind him.
Yep.
And then he swaggers down to the ring like he's Roman Reigns Travis Scott, that is, slowly swaggering down to the ring like he's some sort of important piece in all this, with his little fucking $500 WWE Shop.com hardcore title. Gets in the ring and gets one of the weakest crossroads I've ever seen. For
He should have got hit by Braun Breaker. Should have fucking got him speed on him like he did. I show speed, man. Like type of shit. You know,
that I'd pay to see.
It is frustrating. It is very frustrating with the prices that these tickets were.
It's downright maddening.
It is, and for what the people got, I think The Rock owes the people an apology of the reason why, and apologize, saying sorry for interfering, because at the end of the day, these unfinished scripts that went through, like, you're right. You know, I actually forgot that he actually pinned Cody in WrestleMania 40 to should have told The Rock when he was going to have the battle with Roman Reigns. Well, listen, you're right. That's another story. That's 3 storylines that he messed up on, because he was supposed to start fighting Roman Reigns, because he would have told him, look, I pinned Cody, you couldn't, and cause a rift on that. See, so there's a lot of different things that are happening behind the scenes, and like I said, again, if you're not going to finish the story, don't even bother coming. Let wrestlers that need, like Karrion Kross, should have been in WrestleMania. Plain and simple. He should have had a match in WrestleMania.
Would have got something better out of him.
I don't understand it. I don't understand why you're going into your biggest show. If Ari Emanuel contacted you and said, "Hey, Dwayne, we need you to help sell tickets to Elimination Chamber, man." What about WrestleMania? We're talking some people showing upwards of $30,000 for ringside seats, $5,000 for top of the arena. I'm talking altitude sickness, nosebleeds. You're looking at ants wrestle. You might as well stayed home because you're watching it on a screen anyways. Mm-hmm. And they didn't sell out. There's conflicting reports. They said what, 62 and some change, or 61 and some change night 1, and 61 and 62 and some change night 2.
Yeah. You know what? Shuttle play, you might be right.
There's a lot of different sites out there that are saying that's inflated. That's inflated by a few thousand.
Yep. These wrestling tickets should not be the prices they were.
Absolutely.
You missed out opportunities of having other fans come enjoy, because you had almost 30,000 tickets that weren't sold because the prices were friggin' outrageous. You know, you should start thinking about the fans. Stop thinking about the greed.
Yeah. And then when they got to fill the stadium with fillers, and they don't know a thing of, these people didn't know anything about wrestling. They only know names, and they're cheering for the wrong person, pretty much.
Yeah, the crowd didn't know who to cheer for.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't. They're out here booing Cody, the babyface, cheering for Cena. Mm-hmm. It just, and now I question, when are we going to see are we going to see The Rock again on TV in a week or two saying, "Oh, this is all part of the plan. The McAfee stuff, it's part of the plan. Just shut up and enjoy the ride. The Rock's
long-term storytelling."
Yeah, long-term booking. Shut up and enjoy the ride the Rock's taking you on. What ride is there to enjoy, dude? You put the car in drive and bailed out of the passenger seat and said, "See you later."
Yeah.
You put a brick on the pedal and you bailed. Like, there's no story or ride you're taking us on, dude. It's over. And I think that's why John Cena, Randy Orton should have been towards the tail end of his run, not in the middle of it.
Right.
And now we have to get Randy Orton Cena because Punk is involved. I really think they're going to go Punk and Reigns are going to try to put together a team to face whatever faction it is, Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins are building for Elimination Chamber, or not Elimination Chamber, but for Survivor Series, which they're already pushing Survivor Series at pay-per-view. That's what, November?
7 months away.
It just doesn't make sense, man. So it's clear to me that we're gonna get John Cena versus Randy Orton at Backlash.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no need to bring Travis Scott back. If this final boss stuff is dead, it's dead. Don't bring Travis Scott back. Let's see John Cena cook. Let's see heel Cena cook. I'm tired of this coming out, blaming the people. And he did it again on Monday. Came out the night after WrestleMania. Oh, he talked a big game on McAfee. Tune in tonight on Raw to see how I ruin professional wrestling, how I end professional wrestling. And your professional wrestling is that you're going to make the company start over with a new champion because you're going to take that championship home with you. I just feel like there's no angle here for heel Cena. What could potentially be one of the best heel runs was ruined because of The Rock. Plain and simple.
Yep.
Plain and simple. Because you want to do this whole sell your soul angle. No, we get no payoff to that. There's no payoff for The Rock even coming out. There's no payoff for the 3. There's nothing. You could have had Seth Rollins. Listen, this. You don't have The Rock show up. Fine. Whatever. You have the Paul Heyman there who has a connection to The Rock. It could come out that The Rock and Paul Heyman are working together. Seth Rollins gets involved and costs John Cena or costs Cody Rhodes. 1 year, you're Cody Rhodes' shield. The next, you're the vein of his existence. You're the reason he lost the title. 1 year, you're his savior, the reason he won. The next year, you're the reason he lost. That instantly puts heat on whatever stable you're trying to build. Mm-hmm. Then you get the events of Monday night, and you have Seth. You open Raw with Seth, Paul Heyman, John Cena, 17-time world champion, standing there in the ring. Goosebumps, electrifying. Already better than whatever bullshit we got Sunday night with Travis Scott. Then you have Cena being the leader with Seth and Braun Breaker. You add maybe Drew McIntyre. You add maybe, 1 or 2 more people to round out your group at 5. Ethan Page, whatever it is. And then you start your...
Why Ethan Page become part of something, man? Come on, man.
You start your story building to get The Rock to get Roman and Punk teaming up to face Paul Heyman's group at Survivor Series.
Because think about it. Maybe this might be a little too far-fetched. You're onto something, Matt. Maybe freaking goddamn Survivor Series. The Rock puts together, the team. You get John Cena, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and 2 other people.
At this point, I don't want The Rock involved anymore. I don't want to see The Rock on our TV anymore. I'm done. From the way 40 ended to the first Raw on Netflix, him being, director of the board of TKO, Dwayne Johnson, and I'm sharing Taramana with Cody, and Cody's a great champion, and to the same thing on the next night on NXT. Oh, just shut up and enjoy the ride The Rock's taking you on. To Elimination Chamber, to whatever it is we got at Mania. Come on, man. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see The Rock anywhere near WWE anymore.
I'd rather watch the movie Doom to see The Rock.
Shadow says Heyman and Seth building Evolution 2.0. Seth is Triple H and Braun is Batista. Then who's your Randy Orton? Because I think Randy Orton's probably the most famous to come out of that, or most successful to come out of that group.
Hey, maybe he's in Page.
That's a possibility. Long-term story building was a damn lie to cover up their laziness. I agree. Shadow says The Rock's ego was so damaged by the fans stopping him from overstepping Cody at 40. He did a Steven Richards. I'll show you. You'll see. Potentially. Trick Williams. Maybe Trick.
Yeah, maybe Trick. That'd be cool.
just thinking about that Rock stuff and sitting there and sitting with Styx live on Saturday, complaining about how dead the crowd was, how bad the matches were, how boring the finishes were and waiting for that triple threat to save night 1. And then you get night 2 and it leads off with that banger of a match with the women. Like, shout out to Io Sky. I said that her last championship run was boring, and it was, but she tore it up on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get, don't even get me started on the abomination that was Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. Like, Charlotte Flair forgot how to wrestle, apparently, if she ever knew how.
Right.
And her job was to put Tiffany over, and she didn't even want to do that. Only 2 champions came out this weekend first. Tiffany Stratton, because Charlotte Flair's ego, she had to be the second to come out, and Io Sky.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Dude, like, and then you get that stuff with The Rock or with Cena and Cody to end the show. Come on, man. This is WrestleMania.
Yep.
What are we doing here? And I really feel like the only explanation is that there was something else supposed to be planned. The Rock got mad, decided not to show up, and Paul had to go with all he had in Travis Scott.
Okay, you know what, Matt? I'm 100% with you. I understand. We can't cry over spilled milk anymore. That's it, man. It's over with. You got to move forward. There's some bigger, better things that are happening. I'm tired of talking about The Rock for an hour now. We have other parts of the WrestleMania that was good, and we should be talking about that now. We should be talking about the triple threat match, Bianca Belair, freaking Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, which was a great triple threat match. And I still think that it should have been Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley as no championship, just fighting each other. The domination of women domination. That would have been perfect and had Io Sky fight somebody else. But that was a great match. Also, look, hey, Tiffany Time showed her resistance. She broke a tooth. She freaking goddamn was a bruised up. Yeah, she took over the team and she showed it. She did a great job.
Charlotte's the one that dropped the Flair in that match because she didn't make Tiffy look as good as she should have. But whatever. It's hard to move past the Rock stuff because it dominated the news cycle for so long, and it continues to now that we're on this whole Cena heel run. Like, I really hope Cody comes out tomorrow night on SmackDown and something gets addressed and fixed. But man, like, I'm dropping it, but I'm just saying it just infuriates me.
Well, listen, when is the draft?
We don't know. They haven't announced.
We don't know.
Usually it's right about this time.
It should be down. Yeah. Exactly. Maybe Friday night we'll find out. Going next week. Maybe next week it's going to be the draft. Maybe it's going to change, and they're going to bring up some people from freaking NXT, to fill in some spots. Because Raw, look, you have to give the top-notch guys to Raw, because the top-notch guys, it's on the pay-per-view on Netflix, so you need to have it to be the bigger, better show.
You do, but you don't want to kill. You don't want to kill what's going on in NXT either.
I know, but at the same time, you have a lot going on in NXT, and you can deplete some people. You can take some women, and you can take some guys, and But look,
I mean, we've been talking for the last 6 weeks. NXT is the best product they've got.
Yeah, Aleister Black is going to return on Friday. They've already been promoting that.
Yeah. And look, Aleister Black comes back. You have the Wide Six come back. That's another thing. The Wide Six has been out of action for a while. That's another thing that you could put back into play.
They've disappeared.
Yeah, because Dallas is hurt.
Because they had nothing for them to do.
Yeah, and you also have Alexa Bliss that hasn't been fighting. But look, WrestleMania, in a nutshell, should be one night, a 4-hour event. Every champion should be freaking goddamn fighting. No putting a champion to become for the tag team championships. Where was Chelsea Green? Chelsea Green should have been fighting. Fucking goddamn Valkyrie should have been fighting.
No, she was busy in an angle with Becky Hogan who pushed Bayley out.
You see, yeah, exactly. Look, let me tell you something. You have a lot of women in that back that should have been fighting for those belts. It's bullshit. It's bullshit that you have champions that don't even goddamn that freaking look. She should have fought fucking Vega because Vega beat her the last time. That should have been one of the matches in WrestleMania.
I don't know about that. I don't really want to see Zelina Vega on WrestleMania.
Yeah, she deserves it.
WrestleMania, I think WrestleMania 2 nights is amazing. It's a great thing, but it needs to be 2 nights of your most stacked card, not Raw matches, not matches that we could have seen on Saturday Night Main Event. It's got to be your most stacked card, and it wasn't. Like I said, Becky Hogan coming back. You had Bayley carry that storyline just because Becky didn't want to come back before Mania. Then you insert Becky because you feel like Becky's going to be a better heel than Bayley, just to win the titles, to lose them the next night, to be able to turn on Lyra. Why?
Didn't make sense.
Why not just have Lyra defend her belt on Mania and then have Becky come out and turn on her? I would love to see Becky Lynch be the first Paul Heyman girl in WWE.
And because you could have had freaking goddamn Liv and freaking Rodriguez freaking fight somebody else for those tag team championships. Instead of having them fight Lyra that has a belt that should have fought somebody else. I don't understand some of the concepts that they put out there. That you're wasting championship opportunities with these belts. These mid-card belts were made to freaking give more opportunities, but you're not giving the opportunities.
I'm starting to agree with what Pete said last week, that they need to move those NXT championships, or they needed to move those women's championships down to NXT, because NXT has the NXT Women's Championship and the Women's North American Championship, and that's it. They need to push.
Christina, how are you?
They need to push those women's tag team titles back down to NXT to give them something, because you're right. There's not enough action for these 2 mid-card titles.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know WWE's high on Lyra, and they want to propel Lyra, and that's why she's going to get in this feud with Becky. That's great. But Chelsea Green is doing some of the best work she's done. And you're just going to overlook her, not even put her on Mania, not even put her on the card. You're going to put her on the SmackDown and have her defend her belt on a SmackDown before WrestleMania?
Look, WrestleMania, I think this WrestleMania was it had some good stuff. I think you're right. You're right, Shadowplay. The women's tag team championships are a waste. Those belts should be put in NXT, the fight in NXT, and have that. Look, NXT should become part of the two big guys, and as a third one, because now you have these other things now that can be developmentals. You can have NXT as part of the main rosters and have those belts defended. You have more opportunities. You have more players that friggin' other belts to have, and you could definitely make bigger, better storylines. Have more friggin' goddamn factions that could actually get together and have put on a good show. You have these crazy ass women that are down there that are great, and you have other women in the back that don't even goddamn use. That they should be using. Come on, B-Fab should be used more. She's good. Yes, you have a friggin' Nietzsche. She actually, she deserves. She's been fighting a lot on the regular thing. She deserves a big pay-per-view push. I don't understand some of the stuff, some of the ideas, the creative ideas that are in the back. And look, at least when Vince McMahon, I know he had some crazy things, but there was a lot of opportunity. I know women are getting more time on the show, not like the longer matches in the Triple H era, but still, for some reason, being misused as certain people in the back that should be friggin' fighting more. And those mid-titles should be defended more. If you're not going to defend the championship, I can understand the championship match in a big pay-per-view. But these mid-cards should be on a weekly friggin' event, every friggin' week on SmackDown Raw. There should be a championship match with those mid-cards to give people opportunities. And They don't. You know, you should have had a friggin' a women's battle royal, and you get 3 NXT people in there to fight for those mid cards. The last 2 people get opportunities to fight for the mid cards. You could have had something like that. At least you would have had more people come in. You got WrestleMania 2 friggin' nights. 2 nights. The Andre the Giant friggin' Memorial was on SmackDown. Not even WrestleMania, where it used to be. Now they put it on SmackDown. So, come on, man. Some of these creative choices that they're doing is not working. And
remember when that Battle Royale made stars? It was supposed to be the next star. And now, like, Braun Strowman's a mid-carder that isn't working. You know, you had who else? Bronson Reed. Didn't Bronson Reed won it last year and then got hurt?
That was with Baron Corbin. Remember Baron Corbin? He was
Corbin. Yeah.
He was the what's his face? The other dude that was there. The
guy that it wasn't Rick Boogs that won it.
No, it was the other. It was he dated what's his name from Australia chick, friggin'
yeah, I can't think of his name.
That guy doesn't wrestle anymore.
Well, he left now because he left. They let him go. He was one of the five.
Yeah, and then now they gave it to Carmelo Hayes.
And now what's going to happen with Carmelo Hayes? You know,
Corbin did win it. Yep, Corbin won it too. And Carmelo Hayes. And Shadow says, we got Kathy Kelly training to be an on-screen manager. Maybe have her manage someone like Dupree and take her away from Alpha Academy. Dupree's the best thing going in Alpha Academy because Otis has no mic skills, and neither does Tozawa. Dupree came out and cut a killer promo on Monday night for Alpha Academy, which, again, don't get me started on. We'll talk about that on Raw because I think Rusev, his debut was completely mishandled, but it is what it is. I like Dupree with Alpha Academy, but let's get into you're right, we've been in for an hour talking about WrestleMania, so let's get into our games results, and we'll start with NXT Stand and Deliver. Styx, you want to run down the point system for us again real quick?
Were you thinking of Madcap Moss?
Yes, that's who he was talking
Madcap Moss. Yes,
Madcap Moss.
That was him.
All right, so our point system for
he dated Emma, there you go.
For our points for NXT, 10 points for a correct winner pick, 5 points per pin for the multiple pin match.
The women's
10 points for any extra call. I don't think anyone really made any extra calls, interference. If you got anything, I don't think nobody had that. But 10 points for a correct winner, 5 points for the pins were applicable. There you go.
I just want to say before we get into this review, hats off and a round of applause all around to NXT Stand and Deliver. Because NXT Stand and Deliver plays much better than night 1 of WrestleMania.
Yes,
but we'll start off with that women's number 1 contenders match. Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan picking up the win, and they got to face Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez on NXT on Tuesday night. That is not who I thought was going to win. I thought for sure that Cora Jade and Roxana Perez were going to pick up that win, but it was still a interesting match nonetheless.
Yes.
Yep. It was good. Some good wrestling.
You picked them. Did you pick that? Styx, you picked them, didn't you?
I don't think anybody picked them, did they?
Dub did.
Oh, did he?
Dub.
Yeah.
I mean, I had them being the last team. I had them losing to Cora Jade and Roxana Perez, but
I had them losing to. Yeah. But no, this match was a killer right out of the gate. I mean, all these women did great. The angle of Perez getting cold feet or scared toward the middle of that match was a little off-putting for me, but I'm waiting to see what goes on with that. I only watched a little bit of NXT this week, so I don't know if they cover that or not this week.
our next match was the 6-man tag team match. Dark State with a winner. But we did have a little bit of a heel turn.
I got it. I know. I got the fact. No, I got the fact. Didn't I get the Dark State winning?
No, I think you're the only one that said the family.
No, I said no. I just said.
No, I think Pete said the family.
Yeah.
I watched it again today to make sure I had everything correct. So
did I say Dark State?
I'll go back in.
I thought Pete said the family.
Pete had Dark State. I think Pete ended up switching over to Dark State. But you had the family winning, Dom.
I had the family?
No, yeah. I think Dom. I don't know. I'll have to watch it again because I think Dom's the one that made the point of you're not going to introduce Dark State and have them be this big force just to lose to the family in their first match.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I think Dom had.
I'll watch it again.
Dark State as well.
Yeah,
but I digress. It was a fun match, right up until the heel turn at the end, with Dark State picking up the win.
Yep.
And then we had Fraxium losing to Hank in Tank.
Yeah. I did not have that. I did not see them winning, but it was a good match and good on them for winning. So
the build for the story was good about I thought for sure Fraxium was gonna be. I thought for sure Fraxium was gonna lose, and they were gonna show up on Raw and challenge the New Day for their titles on Raw. A great tag team. They're gonna be on the main roster sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
But this was a good match, and even though I don't really like Hank and Tank,
right?
We'll see what happens with them forward. Then we got North American Championship. Ricky Styx retaining over All Ego Ethan Page. I think everyone pretty much saw this one coming because they're not going to take that belt off Ricky Styx yet. They're not going to Sean Spears him.
Right.
But it was a good match all the way around. It was a very strong match on NXT. It was, it did what it needed to do.
Yep.
Made Ricky Styx look good, kept Ethan Page looking strong, potentially even if he's going to get a call up to be part of Paul Heyman's new faction, which I will give it to Dom. I think he would fit good in that faction versus the Rock's faction. I think he fits good in Paul Heyman's whatever they're going to call themselves, alliance or whatever they're calling themselves. But
the Heyman family.
Yeah, there you go, the Heyman family, the Monday Night Messiahs.
Hershey Highway.
There you go. Then we got what could potentially been the match of the night, the NXT Women's Championship. Stephanie Vacquier retaining over Julia, Jordan Grace, and Jada Parker. And I think this just goes to show you that even though NXT is high on Jada Parker, they don't feel like she is there yet. They don't feel like she's quite ready.
She's good with the mic. She's very energetic. And you know what I'm saying? Eventually she's going to win something. Or she might even come up to the main roster off the bat just to bring it to the main roster to get her away, because I think she's getting smothered in NXT. Because she's good with the promos. She's good with the. I tell her mic skills are 100% better than Roxanne Perez. She could play. She plays a good heel, and she play more of a anti-hero type of thing, because she don't call herself a heel, but more of the. But this was a great match, and look, let me tell you something. Freaking Stephanie and Julia would definitely be up in the main roster within the year. You were right. You were definitely right.
John Cena won the WWE Spinner Championship 17 times, not the real championship 17 times.
Yeah, true.
There's a caveat to that too, because isn't there a couple of titles that WWE doesn't recognize? So Flair is actually like a 21-time champion.
I know. I know. True.
But
true.
I digress.
But this was a great match, and Stephanie's really.
I think La Primera is booked for a main roster run, man. Like she's there for everything. She retained here. She was on stage for the announcement of the AAA merger. She was on, Raw the next night. It just
listen. I did not even recognize Julia when she came up. Her and Roxanne came out to fight Stephanie and Io. I didn't recognize her. She painted the hair purple, and you know what? I tell you what, man. Oh my kid, man. Just bring them all out. Just bring them all out. Just let me.
Did you happen to see Stephanie's tweet to Charlotte on night one when Charlotte used her move?
Yeah.
And Stephanie tweeted out, the reason that this works for me is peach emoji. Basically saying that Charlotte has no ass.
Yep.
Not wrong.
Booker T got to go.
Next time she gets her knee twisted up, she can get that.
Yo, Booker T freaking goddamn is gonna have a heart attack, man.
Yeah, he got to go crazy at Stand and Deliver when she.
Oh my god!
God!
Yeah. He's like, oh my! Yo, he's like Vince McMahon. You ever see that meme with Vince McMahon sitting in the chair and he goes like this? He goes, and he falls back when the
falls out.
And I like how on NXT on Tuesday, when she was gonna go hit it on Roxanne Perez, she pointed at Booker. And she did a little bit slow on Sunday because she was handing him out like it was a bargain wholesale deal.
I know.
Like she was Oprah giving away cars all weekend.
I'll give you that shot.
Yeah.
I'll give you that shot, and I'll give you that shot.
There you go.
But
you gotta love NXT.
I thought for sure that she was gonna lose the belt here and come up on Monday and challenge Io for it. I got part of that right. She showed up on Monday and challenged Io, but it was not for a title.
I was very surprised when I saw that. I was like, this, Matt is right. I was like, he's right. Nah, like I'm going to tell you, these four ladies, they were all within the next year. Will all either by the end of the year or early next year, all be up in the main roster.
Oh, I think by the end of by Evolution. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of them on the main roster because WWE is going to start pushing Evolution, which they want to have this summer. I think in July. Yeah, it's I think we're going to see a lot more of the NXT women,
and for a fact that they want Julia, they want friggin' Stephanie, they definitely want freaking Jordan Grace. They want those girls definitely in that. And you know what? Jada Parker is definitely, she's my number one. I love her. I can't stop. You
love her more than Stephanie?
It's hard. Before Stephanie came to NXT, freaking Jada Parker. I'm sorry, man. Jada Parker.
Down. Remember, there's 7 days in a week.
I know. I know. Listen. She was at freaking goddamn was it fan the event where she was signing autographs. The Fanatics.
Fanatics Fest.
Yeah, Fanatics Fest. Yeah, I was like, I'm telling you, man.
Miss Parker. I feel like out of this group, she is the lone wolf of not being quite ready for the main roster yet. And I think if she were to get called up now, she'd be looking at a one-way street to future endeavors because she'd get lost in the sauce with.
Yeah. But you know what?
Like I said, the main roster.
Don't get me wrong. She does wrestle. She wrestles her ass off. Literally, the wrestles her ass off. But you're right. Like I said, out of the Julia, Stephanie, and Jordan Grace, it's a no-brainer that those three get called up within the next year, by the end of this year.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Wouldn't shock me.
I think Stephanie's ready to go right now, man.
She is. She is because, like you said, she had the choice, and I think Julie is ready to go too.
Mm-hmm.
And
you might be right.
I think Julia.
Yeah, you might be right, Matt. The only thing probably keeping her back is her English. You said that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but she's getting better. She's getting better.
She's getting better. I mean, but that's not something we haven't had before. I mean, that's not so.
Ah, come on. You don't like the spinner belt? How can you not like the spinner belt?
Yeah.
And then we had the NXT Women's Championship, North American Championship ladder match. Sol Ruka, which, we all slept on Sol Ruka.
We all slept.
I did not see Sol Ruka winning that match at all.
Nope.
I just think out of the talent you had in the ring, and it was an incredible ladder match.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
But I didn't see Sol Ruka coming out on top. Nobody did. So
Nope.
Big ups to Sol Ruka for just
absolutely
stealing it from all of us.
Yep.
But it was a very good ladder match. Lots of good spots. Fun. Then we got our NXT Championship match. Obafemi retaining. But we got no Dom, your Domspiracies. We didn't get no Trick Williams as the leader of Dark State. I was waiting for it.
I was waiting for it too. I was waiting for it too.
Mm-hmm.
No Dom.
I think everybody was. It seems kind of inevitable. Something's gonna have to be. Yeah, one of them.
It was the right call. Javon Evans is gonna win it in his time.
Oh yeah.
Obafemi was the right call.
And you're right. And Trick won it twice already, so you could definitely. He's ready for the main roster call up already to come up, man. And yeah, you're right.
I think it's going to be hard pressed to find a spot for Trick right now, just because even Carmelo Hayes is sitting pretty in the mid card. I mean, I would argue he's lower than mid card because he's being teamed with the Miz.
Huh.
Can you say that I am him if you're with the Miz? I don't see it. But
you could say you're miserable.
There you go. Maybe Trick Williams comes up to be part of that new faction. Who knows?
Maybe. Maybe that'd be kind of cool. I'll take that too.
But like I said, NXT Stand and Deliver definitely outperformed WrestleMania Night 1 for me. Styx, what were our points totals?
Matt, you had 40 points. Pete had 50 points. Dub came up with 55 points. I only had 30. Dom only had 30. And I'll look at that again, Dom. If I made a mistake, I'll give you that extra 10 points.
Right.
Winner of the NXT. Apparently, we have an NXT championship now. So the winner of the Stand and Deliver NXT championship was
Dubs.
Double O.
Mr. Dub.
Dubs.
Double O.
Dom, I think you're going to have to cut a promo on him, Dom, to get that championship.
We have to.
All right. Moving on to WrestleMania. Styx, give us a rundown on the WrestleMania point system.
WrestleMania was a little more straightforward. 10 points per match, winner called, pinfall or otherwise. And then you got 10 points for any extra call, interference, etc.
And I was watching WrestleMania. I was like, man, this is close because we're all calling these so close. It's so down the line.
It was.
But we started night 1 with our World Heavyweight Championship match, Jey Uso versus Gunther. What did you guys think of Jey Uso versus Gunther to kick off night 1 of WrestleMania?
Choppy.
I was surprised that. Oh, look, I knew he was
literally,
win, but I did not expect him to win with him tapping out. I didn't expect that.
I didn't either. Do you think that was a good call, him tapping out?
Not as quickly as he did, though. Yeah, maybe not as quickly as he did.
Yeah.
I don't think Jey Uso making him tap was the right call. I think Jey Uso should have beat him up more, other than just
tapping out.
Yeah, to me, like if you watch the live, what I thought was funny is I go to Styx. Wouldn't it be funny if Gunther goes to the top rope and he just hits the Uso splash on Jey Uso? Then literally 5 seconds later, there goes Gunther up to the top rope, to hit the splash. And
Yep.
it just turned into a finisher fest a little bit, and some one-upmanship, but it turned out the way I think we all thought it was. I think this is like the most easiest match to predict.
This was a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
Jey Uso was winning this belt long before the match. They even stepped foot in the ring at WrestleMania.
Nope. As soon as he won WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, we knew it. So
no grandiose, crazy finish. Pretty straightforward, and I think it ended the way it needed to be. Now we got Jey Uso as our World Heavyweight Championship, and he can go and probably is going to lose the belt within the next couple of PLEs.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not going to have a very long. And I hate to say it because I like Jay, but his reign isn't going to be very long.
Next up, we had probably one of the worst tag team matches of the night.
Oh my God!
And a match that should have just been on Raw, just like the SmackDown championships were defended on SmackDown. This should have been a Raw match. We had the New Day picking up the win over the War Raiders. Yeah, dude, it was like
War Raiders look like
thanks
crap.
for coming. Yeah, the War Raiders didn't look good.
Not
this,
and again, I'll say it: the crowd didn't help them at all, in any way, shape, or form. There was no pump from the crowd, and so it was like watching a match with the sound off, because nothing was hardly any cheering, hardly anything for either team. So I was glad it was over when it got over.
And then the New Day won the title and got out of Dodge.
Oh yeah, they ran the hell out of there.
They ran away.
Yep. Don't blame them.
Yep.
Then we got El Grande Americano versus not Rey Mysterio, but Rey Fenix, as Rey Mysterio suffered an injury on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we all pretty much knew El Grande Americano was picking up.
Yeah, we
the
all
victory
had El
here,
Grande.
just because we're gonna see more matches with them down the line.
Mm-hmm.
And it just made sense that I think, anyone could have seen that El Grande was winning this match.
Yeah.
I mean, and it wasn't a bad match. It could have been a better display for Phoenix and El Grande or Chad Gable, but it was, again, it was okay.
It definitely would have been better with Mysterio in that match.
Yeah, and we said it on Saturday that you could clearly tell that, they may have hot swapped who El Grande was facing, but they did not change.
You know what's kind of crazy? That they made Ray lose. They fucking Ray Phoenix lose a big match. I understand, that they did it that way, but it's kind of odd that they made him lose off the bat like that.
Well,
big win against a newcomer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we knew Ray was going to lose anyway, so having Phoenix lose in his place, it's just a figure swap.
Yeah, that's essentially it was. Is you were keeping the finish, just changing the lose. Who was going to lose?
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
it was an okay match. I did like El Grande Americano's entrance, so
the mariachis.
And
the old timey.
Yeah, I did like it.
Yeah,
a lot. I liked it a lot.
Well, and like you said on the show on Saturday, probably one of the better entrances we got, because a lot of them were god awful nothing.
Yeah, we got no grandiose entrances. Essentially, Charlotte Flair and LA Knight got the same entrance, just different directions.
I actually like
swapped cars.
Funk. He had a cult of personality. Freaking goddamn.
That was probably the best entrance of the weekend, other than Stone Cold not getting a DUI while he was driving.
And if you applauded to that person suing now, that's funny.
How he completely missed.
Yo, dude, he ran right into that wall, and you see the woman go, ah.
Yeah, and now she released the footage of it from her phone of him crashing into her and stuff, and it's ridiculous if she's actually suing, but Yeah, you had him completely miss the ramp the first time, then struggle to back it up, then fly around the ring only to crash into the barricade.
That shit bad funny, man. Yo, I saw that. I was laughing. I was like, look at this shit.
And Nick Khan came out of the crowd real quick to make sure she was all right.
Oh, hell yeah.
He was like, here's some tickets to WrestleMania 42. Don't sue us, please.
Exactly. We're gonna sue. Yeah.
A match that had a lot of build, but I felt like it fell flat. Jade Cargill picking up the win over Naomi.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed that they couldn't do more with this feud in the build in this match.
I actually think they want to do the Jade and freaking Charlotte, because they built it up when she was going up the ramp. I think they wanted to finish this feud, but I think also Bianca Belair's heel turn is happening soon. That she can find out that she was more. So there's other stuff that they want to fight. Look, I know more of a build they could have had. They just it wasn't a bad match.
No, problem was, and I said it on Thursday, I didn't care. I don't know who really else at this point cared about this match, because it was.
I liked it, and I cared because of the build and the story that they were telling. It was the most intriguing thing going into WrestleMania, because the Jay, we said before, the Jay Gunther stuff cooled off. The Cena stuff didn't make any sense. It was the only real feud that we had going into Mania that made sense, other than Punk, Rollins, and Reigns. Yeah, but that's it. I just don't feel like. I feel like Naomi tried her best to make Jade look good, and Jade came out looking all right. I don't think she came out looking as good as she probably should have, but what are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
But up next we had LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship. Yeah. What do you guys think of LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu?
It was okay. Look, we all knew that Jacob Fatu was going to win.
Yeah.
So they give it to the. It was cool. He came out with the werewolf mask. The same guy who created the Fiend's mask did the werewolf mask for Jacob Fatu, which was pretty cool. Jacob Fatu is the future. But we just found out what's his name is hurt. Got hurt. He had to go for surgery. He's gonna be out for quite a while. What's his face? He's with Jacob Fatu. He was
Tangaloa?
Yeah. What?
Right. Yeah, Tangaloa.
The other Tongan.
Yeah. He's out. So.
No.
Yeah, like you said, it was a pretty predictable match, though. I think we all knew that Jacob Fatu was going to pick up the win.
Yeah, I believe we all had him winning.
It was a good match, though. I think Fatu should have done a little bit more. It should have been a little bit more dominant, and there were some.
That's the thing; they hold back what he's capable of doing. So they do that. The WWE has a habit of doing that. Hold back potential of what they can possibly do.
Yeah. Well, it's like one week they got him almost decapitating Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
And here they don't. He should have been doing almost as much as he did there to take him out.
I think LA Knight now goes for the tag team championships.
With who?
Ethan Page. I don't know what my exception is. I just don't know what my exception is with Ethan Page, man, because when he was with AEW, he was good in AEW, man. I don't know. I think that he has a potential of being a megastar, and do some good things in the main roster if he goes to the main roster. I don't know.
I liked him. I liked him when he was with NWA. I thought he was good there too.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens on the road.
Yeah, he's got a good career ahead of him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Los Angeles Night.
Yep.
Then we had WWE Women's Championship match. Tiffany Stratton, which she had a nice little Barbie Dreamhouse entrance, versus Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, like I said, Tiffany was a warrior, man. Chipped a tooth, got a bruise on her forehead, face, and she figured did what she needed to do to maintain her championship reign.
And I'm pretty sure it was all from that that brace that Flair was wearing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I don't want to think it was a decent match. It was an all right match.
Okay.
I didn't think it was groundbreaking in any way. So, Tiffany won. I'm glad Tiffany won, and not that I hate Flair, but I'd rather see Tiffany get more of a push than Flair. Flair's already been in the league for 20 years.
Yeah, I felt like Charlotte didn't sell Tiffany very strong in this match. She really did Tiffany no favors. I think Tiffany tried to look strong and put on a good show, and I think Charlotte just didn't really want to have any part of it. Charlotte coming out second just kind of felt like she was just being petty for it and all that. I really wish they would have changed the outcome of the Royal Rumble to be somebody else other than Charlotte. But Tiffany did her thing, man. I agree with Dom. She's a warrior, busted her, tooth and what have you. She warriored. She did what she thought she could, but I don't know. It just it could have been better.
It was flat.
It could have been a better match.
Could have been better. Agreed.
And then the match of the night, we got the triple threat match. Seth Rollins takes a win, takes Paul Heyman, takes everything. He took the best friend, he took the wise man, and he took the win.
Yep.
Seth Rollins went into Vegas, bet the house, and left with it all.
Also, you think about it, Seth Rollins lost 3 times to freaking goddamn CM Punk. He finally got the win over CM Punk in a match.
No, he didn't. He technically got the win at the Raw on
Netflix.
The
Elimination Chamber. Yeah, I know he got that. But Roman Reigns still 3-0 against Seth Rollins, man. And now that's the big thing. He has to defeat the big bad Seth Rollins now. That's the thing now, because they'll have him come back. Now the thing. Let me ask you a question now. They're gonna have to bring in Roman Reigns more now than his previous times not being there.
Right.
Yeah, I think so.
This storyline continue. Because CM Punk's gonna be there. So who do you have if Roman's not there? Who do you have CM Punk team up with? Because obviously they're gonna build this faction up. They have to build it up, and there's probably maybe 1 or 2 more people that are gonna be joining this faction. You don't want to make it too big. Like Becky Lynch will probably be the first Paul Heyman woman. Definitely Paul Heyman girl to be part of the faction. One or 2 more guys be part of that faction to really to solidify it and make it a dominating faction. If Roman Reigns ain't there, you're gonna have CM Punk, and you gotta carry this storyline. Because obviously, this is not the last time you're going to see these guys wrestle. But the whole fact is that Roman Reigns is the main factor. You need to have him come in. Pay-per-views, you have to come out at least the week, the go-home show, and then on the fucking pay-per-view. At least something, because you can't be playing this thing that I know he's sick, but come on. he's doing other things outside wrestling. Then, you know,
I don't know, man. I'm smelling a Roman Reigns gets taken out, and we don't see him on WWE TV for
a while.
Yeah,
going up until SummerSlam or friggin' War Games. See, that's another thing. I'm tired of War Games. I want them to go back to the SmackDown versus Raw, and then have NXT come in. I want that the three-way battle like they did the last. I thought that was good. The War Games, it's done. I'm done with this. But this was the match of the night, and Seth is a friggin' genius. Friggin' the architect at work, man. You know, the friggin' the Messiah 2.0. You know,
yep.
So we'll see how this turns out. Now, you knew Seth Rollins was going to turn heel. We all knew that he would turn heel. But is he really heel against two people that are definitely like Roman Reigns? Roman Reigns is still basically heel, if you really think about it. He's not a good guy. And CM Punk, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. So basically, that's not being a good guy either. So,
skirt in the center.
So Seth Rollins is basically the heel turn to this whole thing, like he's done it again. You know,
Roman Reigns has conquered everything in the business except Seth Rollins.
Exactly. So you had Seth Rollins always playing the second fiddle, trying to take down Roman Reigns. The people loved it. Now it's reversed. Now Roman is the good guy and Seth Rollins is the bad guy. You know, I like Rollins as a heel. I think Rollins is much more of a better character at being a heel than being a good guy. You know, getting behind the lucky-go-lucky guy. I like the manipulative, the freaking evil and the majesty of him being a heel. You know, he brings a lot to the table. But see, but the way WWE is going, heels fight heels, and you know, good guys are fighting good guys, and this and that. I want them to continue that. Like I want Seth Rollins to be a heel, but I'm like say Jacob Fatu is a heel. I want to see Jacob Fatu fight Seth Rollins. I can see that they're going to try for all the belts. I can see that. Down the road, you get the next, you get the other guy, and you get the women's championship. I can see freaking Becky Lynch going for the WWE, the women's championship, plus the mid cards, the freaking Intercontinental and the damn freaking U.S. championship, trying to get all the belts.
And might as well throw a tag team on it there. She can be Becky 4 belts. I don't know. It's an AEW where we're gonna have Mercedes Moné hold the 5 titles at one time.
I know.
I don't see that happening, but
I can see that Seth is eventually going to go for the championship. Because now, look, you have Braun Breaker. You don't think Braun Breaker is going to win a championship match? So
absolutely,
you take out freaking goddamn Jay, and then you know now that John Cena has the belt, is John Cena the leader of the new Paul Heyman era for the time being? So we'll see. Like I said, but this was the match of the night. I really enjoyed this match. I put it up as one of the best triple threat matches I've seen in a very, very long time. Or the best, if you want to put it. And my boy Seth won. So, and he turned heel and he took Paul Heyman. He became a Paul Heyman guy. So,
yep. And I have a feeling it's only a matter of time before his wife is a Paul Heyman girl.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That takes us through night 1 into night 2. Night 2, we got the other match that stole the weekend, the Women's World Championship.
Hey, wait a minute. Who won those matches? Like on the first night.
What do you mean?
The names weren't underneath night 1. See, there's no names. I said Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins wins. Oh.
No, I mean us as who picked. My name should be down there in highlights.
I think I think I called Seth Rollins. I agreed with you. You said Seth Rollins. I think Pete's the only one that said CM Punk.
Yeah,
and I think Dub said Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm the only one that called Charlotte in this one. Everybody else picked Tiffany.
Yeah.
So I goofed up that one. We all called Jacob Fatu.
Too.
We all said called Jade Cargill. We all said
Figueroa
Grande. We all said New Day.
Yep. I think I might have said Naomi. Actually,
I think you did. We all said New Day, and then we all picked Jay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, as far as the point game go, like this was
right down the line.
Close. Then going into night 2, we have the Women's World Championship. Io Sky retaining over Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair.
Yep.
And I was feeling Ripley right up until the end because of the way they were making Io that afterthought. It became very clear and evident that Io was going to go over.
Yep. Agreed.
It was a good match. My girl Io, tell you she's going to save the championship for her friends when they come back. They're all going to turn heel on us. So.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Maybe.
Dom likes everyone to turn.
She was, and what's the name, was in the backstage watching the thing. So she's coming back. Yep. She's coming out. She's coming soon. So.
Yeah. Good match. Not more to really say.
Great,
it was a
great match.
Yeah, great match.
Then we had Intercontinental Championship, Dominic Mysterio. I called Dominic Mysterio as well. Just saying.
No, you did. No, you did. You actually started. You started following me, saying yes. I believe Dom now. That I just knew that Dom was going to win, man. I had that feeling Dom was going to win and really stick it to Finn. And kind of Finn was like on the outs, like on Monday night, kind of like didn't like it, and he's like, "It's all in the family." Then he has that look, it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time before Finn is out. Because now that JD's back,
what I think it might have been, Styx, is Dom's the only one that called the pin on Finn Balor. I think Dom's the only one that called Dirty Dom pinning Finn Balor.
Yeah, he did.
So I thought for the longest time Penta was going to win it, but I just started to feel that Dom was right. There was just something about the momentum Dominic Mysterio was picking up, and he actually got cheered instead of booed when he won. Yep. So
crazy. After show.
Did you see the crowd? The pop the crowd gave Dom when he won? It was kind of crazy, man. They were waiting for that moment. And waiting for that moment. At the end of the day, man, it's like, of all the losses and all the things that he put in as being part of Judgment Day and doing all that stuff, he deserved it, man. He really deserved that win. Just, we'll see. What
was interesting that I saw? His dad won the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 21.
Yep.
And then Dom came in and won it at WrestleMania 41.
20 years later. That's crazy.
So,
that's interesting.
Very interesting.
And they're the first father-son Intercontinental Champions.
Yep. And go figure, man. His dad's still wrestling, which is funny. And he's still there wrestling.
Quickly on pace to be the greatest Mysterio of all time.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Dirty Dom. Wait, he's going to start wearing the mask eventually. You're right.
We'll see.
I don't know. He said he probably won't, but we'll see.
Then we got Logan Paul versus
Didn't
AJ
I say Logan Paul's going to
win? I know I said AJ. I didn't think Logan Paul was going to beat AJ.
I had AJ.
I think I said Logan Paul. I think I did. Then again, maybe I did. I think I did. I don't think
There's a lot of back and forth, Dom. So I had to go with
Pete's the only one that said that because I'm tired of seeing Pete's name by itself. I don't think he said it. I don't think he's the only one that said it.
Hey, man,
Styx, stop Styxing me. This is not your trivia game. Come on.
Yeah.
I said that Logan Paul was going to get that viral moment, and he did with the entrance and the drone. I thought that was cool, though, where he was walking in.
Did you see him jump the second rope all the way to the other side of the ring?
Yeah, he cleared the ring. Yeah,
Jesus.
it was a surprising good match.
And we thought that someone was going to come out in the Prime bottle, but actually, Karrion Kross did come out.
Yeah, we did call Karrion Kross.
Karrion Kross come out.
Yeah, why didn't I get points for calling Karrion Kross come out?
See what I mean?
What are you doing here, Styx?
Come on,
damn it, Styx, with your crappy games. What are you doing?
You see, Styx? Come on, man.
How much is Pete paying you? He's going to offer you one of those Daredevil whatnot boxes, isn't he?
Listen,
that's your payment for rigging this game.
I'm going to say what they said about Seth Rollins. How much does Seth Rollins pay you, Paul Heyman?
Yeah. Yeah, I spelled some shenanigans here.
Yeah,
Styx.
exactly.
I'll watch again.
I did say AJ Styles was going to.
I know I had AJ Styles.
I'll take that. Then we had what was a pretty good match: the Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest.
I said Damian Priest. I said freaking Drew McIntyre. I didn't say Damian Priest.
This is another one you flip flopped on a couple times.
But wait, I said that freaking goddamn that this guy was going to come out. Freaking what's his name? I think it's the Bad Bunny.
Yeah, you said Bad Bunny.
Yeah, come out. But I think I said McIntyre. Oh man.
Well, you said Bad Bunny was going to.
No, I think you're the only one that said Priest. You were the only one that said Priest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they said they got to push him.
Dub had Priest as well, but yeah.
I was gonna say, yo, dude, you're freaking sticking me here, man.
Nah, he didn't stick to that one. You did say Priest.
Okay, I did say Priest. I remember saying that. The other ones are questionable. I don't know.
But it was a pretty good match. They tore down the house and left the crowd.
But you had to give it to McIntyre. More. You've been making McIntyre look lame here and there, man. After that momentum, that whole friggin' storyline that he had with CM Punk, and so you had to really.
Yeah, he was kind of short too much.
Yeah, you're right. He could become a Paul Heyman guy. This guy too, Paul Heyman can stand. Might have, dude. You know how dominant that team would be. Freaking Seth Rollins, freaking McIntyre, and them Ron Breaker.
He's kind of a
all egos, man. There's a big ego problem there. It's gonna implode.
The only problem, like they would have to move McIntyre back to Raw.
Well, you got the draft.
Yeah, I know they do, but like you moved him from Raw to SmackDown just to move him back to Raw.
Let me ask you a question: do you bring Seth Rollins and Ron Breaker to SmackDown?
No, they're gonna stay on Raw.
Yeah, stay on Raw, right?
Yeah. This is Braun Breaker's push. He's going to the top. He's gonna be heavyweight champion by the end of the year, I think.
Here's the thing to think about. What if Heyman has people in both brands?
That he could potentially do that as well.
Yeah.
You don't have to move anybody over yet. If he's got people in Raw and people in SmackDown,
you can go back and forth.
Heyman can go back and forth. He
would have to, because then Roman Reigns is technically a Raw superstar. So unless they're a SmackDown superstar. So unless they're gonna move Roman Reigns to Raw too.
Well, Roman Reigns went to Raw with the switch with that window when they had the window to bring the bloodline. When freaking Netflix premiered, they wanted the bloodline, and they didn't bring the whole bloodline.
He's still technically in SmackDown. He's still labeled as a SmackDown superstar.
I think he's doing both.
They should just end the brand split and just let him go back and forth and use him as needed.
If you end the brand split, you could actually have a really good potential of really having some good stuff go on.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
You good? 100%. But then we had Randy Orton defeating TNA champion Joe Hendry. Wait, nobody saw Joe Hendry coming out.
Exactly.
I thought for sure it was going to be Nick Aldis.
Yeah.
So this match was made on Friday. We shot on Thursday. Everyone got 10 points because we didn't have that in our booking. So
yeah, nobody freaking had freaking Joe Hendry.
But who would have seen Joe Hendry coming out?
Exactly. You know what? Unless you would have made a joke saying, "Hey, if you could have Joe Hendry come out, it's that." So about matches, not the Randy Orton match you didn't expect. But you know what? When they issued an open challenge, it could have been anybody. It could have been.
Yeah, but this is the first? And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this like the first time a champion from another?
Yes.
Or anybody from another promotion comes over onto WrestleMania.
Like Matt said, he had a WWE shirt in wrestling, and he's a TNA guy, which is the TNA belt. That's all he had that had TNA on it. He didn't represent TNA with anything, which is kind of odd. So they're really pushing him, like you said. He's going to be, as soon as he goes a free agent, he's done. He's going to be with the WWE. Easy.
100%.
100%.
There was a lot of, depending on what dirt sheet you listen to, there was a lot of talk that WWE wanted Jeff Hardy.
Yes, that was it.
For this match to go against Randy.
Wow, that would have happened.
I think the pop for Joe Hendry did it. I think it, with the time they had, Joe Hendry coming out, having a decent showing, taking 2 RKOs, kind of getting that rub from Randy Orton. I think it was good for Hendry. It was good for Orton to pick up his win at his 20th WrestleMania. And it was all around the unforeseen choice, but I think the right choice.
Yeah.
And then we got our women's tag team championships, Lyra Valkyria and Becky Hogan picking up the win. And I said this Saturday, as soon as the pre-show was on, when Bayley got hurt, I said, it's Becky. There's nobody else but Becky. Lyra and Becky have history. It's Becky. And what I don't like is that Bayley carried this. Bayley got them in this match. Bayley did all the heavy lifting just for Becky Hogan to come back in at the last minute. And because they felt, I heard the original plan was for Bayley to turn heel on Lyra and go after Lyra for.
But they didn't want to do heel. They didn't want to do Bayley again. She just became.
Not just that. They didn't feel like Bayley's heel work was good enough to carry this feud. Okay. So Becky came back. They won the championship, and they won the championship just so Becky could turn on Lyra the next night. But overall, it wasn't it was a pretty quick match too. Like
it was. The caveat on this one, obviously the day of, we found out that the switch was being made where Becky was going to be, and I felt like if more people would have picked a Becky Lyra team over them, over Liv and Rodriguez. Matt, you picked Lyra and Becky, or Lyra and Bayley to win. You're the only one that I believe that picked. Dubbed in them. So you got the full point. I gave for those who did not pick them, I gave them 5 points because of the tomfoolery on Saturday, Saturday, with them dropping her and putting Becky in. Because I felt like you might have picked Becky and Lyra to win more than you would have picked.
Oh yeah. I think if they announced Becky right off the rip, I think people would change it.
So I split the difference for everyone who picked, and I gave them an extra 5 points. Kind of the Becky bonus, I guess.
Then we got our most disappointing match of the night, or WrestleMania, the WrestleMania 41 killer. The match that's probably going to go down as one of the worst WrestleMania matches, and it's going to join good company. Undisputed WWE Championship, John Cena winning over Cody Rhodes with the help of Travis Scott. We talked that's one to death at the beginning of the program, but it looks like me and Dom are the only ones that picked Cena to win, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I had Cody. Dom had Cody instead of Pete.
Juan Cena. That leads us to sign of the weekend. Belongs to the grandma from TikTok.
Yeah, she got TikTok grandma.
Yeah. Wrestle if you think I'm sexy.
She goes up to the wrestler. It goes up to the bodybuilders. And goes, "You're kind of small," but then smacks the girl in the ass. That real?
She had a video up where she is asking Triple H for his number, and Triple H asks Stephanie if she can have her number. She goes, "I guess you can."
That's funny.
That was funny.
Wrestle if you think I'm sexy.
It's amazing. She's 100 years old and she's fucking goddamn viral on TikTok.
Wait till you're 100 now. Maybe you'll be too.
Listen, it's not even that, man. How do I even go viral? I put a video up and I can't even fucking get goddamn 10 clicks. Pain in the ass, man.
Yeah.
You got to do something more outlandish than to just sit in front of your toy collection and be like, it's another Fet Friday. Check out this Boba Fett I'm about to unbox.
What are you going to do? I actually have a Fet Friday video coming up tomorrow.
Yeah.
I got an autograph.
We can get Gail a frying pan, and every Friday she can smash one of the Boba Fetts.
I fucking go to Galaga, the freaking guy, freaking like watermelon, breaking the watermelons.
Oh, Gallagher, yeah, there you go.
Listen, you can have my wife, freaking goddamn, destroy my toy collection, and that will go viral.
That'll go viral.
Just your tears in the background as she just absolutely murders one of your
hot
toys.
Why?
Oh my god! Takes a toy.
Yeah, just absolutely destroys it. All right. Give us the points rundown on the WrestleMania game there, Styx.
All right, so night one, it was pretty tight. Matt, Pete, me, and Dom all had 60 points. Dub had 50 for a 4-way tie at 60. Night two, we had Matt had 50 plus the 10 points. 30 for Dub plus 15. Dub had 30 plus 10. I got 20 plus a 15, and Dom got 30 plus 15. 10 points extra for the Randy Orton match, which I gave everyone 10 across the board. And then Pete, 6. Pete, me, and Dom all got 5 points for the Becky Lynch edition. For a grand total where Matt had 120 points, Pete had 105, Dub had 90, I had 95, Dom had 105. And your WrestleMania night
birthday 10-5.
And so the WrestleMania weekend, the WrestleMania 2-night champion was Matt. And then
hoisting that title proud, boys.
Wait a minute. I want to go back at some of the things because I take Liv, freaking Liv and Raquel.
If you want me to recount, I'll recount, Dom.
I'm the only one that I'm the only one that took Lyra and Bailey, because I said Lyra and Bailey were going to drop the titles to the Roxanne Perez on
Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
even though Perez didn't win, but yeah.
I don't know. You got Ben Styx.
You've been Styx. Oh, let's go to our 3-night total. The next slide there. Matt had a total of 160 points. Pete 155. Dub 145. I had 125. Dom had 135. For your overall weekend champion.
Yes.
Yo, man. I don't know, man.
160 overall points. Suck it.
There you go.
I got 2 words for you.
Listen, man. I protest this damn win. I don't know.
Hey, listen, it was tight. We were kind of all picking in the same vein, so.
And I think that just goes to show you how like predictable this WrestleMania was.
Yeah.
Look, I put Karrion Kross to come out in the Prime bottle, but he came out. I should get points for that.
So did I.
Pick Logan Paul.
I'm the one that said he was going to come out in the Prime bottle. Your exact words were, "Yo, Matt, you think that Karrion Kross gets involved in this match?" And I said, "I think he's going to be in the Prime bottle."
Hey, actually, they wanted Stone Cold to be in the bottle. You heard about that? The Dirt Sheet said that they wanted Stone Cold to come in the Prime bottle.
Hear about that.
He's going to come out in a beer bottle, if anything.
That must be why he got drunk backstage, and he probably couldn't get the Prime bottle outfit on, and so he just hopped on his 4-wheeler and drove out there and then crashed.
If you think Stone Cold's getting in a Prime bottle, I don't fucking think so.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's good. I'll take it.
There you go. Good job, man. Good job.
Thank you, sir. Play Q. We are the champions.
Congrats.
Don't worry, Dom. You can come for my title at Backlash, but I'm planning on keeping this bad boy like Roman Reigns for a long, long time. Because I feel the hot streak is starting. I can feel it in the air. The sizzle is building.
I gotta come up with a promo now. I have to come up with a promo.
There you go.
Promo works. The promo works.
Yeah, Matt threw down on Pete last time, and look what happened. He ran the gauntlet, and he took it. So there's something to it. Dan.
That's it.
But all right, we're gonna get into our off the mat reviews, but we're gonna review. Do you guys want to review SmackDown from Friday since it was after Mania, or do you want to just go right to Raw and NXT?
Right to Raw and NXT.
Right to Raw and Dom, what do you think?
I think if SmackDown was right after WrestleMania, we should do SmackDown because
SmackDown was before Mania.
Before WrestleMania.
Before Mania, you know what? Let's skip it. Skip it. Let's do the Raw and NXT. Definitely more important. The Raw was big.
Let's get into the reviews then.
Ignite tonight, wrestling fire burns so bright. In this review, we'll show what's true, breaking barriers, breaking through.
All right, cutting right to the chase. The Raw after WrestleMania. John Cena opened the show. He gave a note to the ring announcer, who does it right the second time by announcing John Cena is in the way he deserves. The new champion tells us that the winners write history, and fans think they can bully him on Friday, and now he is holding gold. They can cheer him now. That's not how healthy relationships work. Just because they show up in a good mood does not mean he can't tell them to go straight to hell. This is a show they forever hijacked. The Raw after WrestleMania. They got a ticket just to take over. The fans chant, "We're not sorry." He checks them over, and it's confirmed that they are the sorriest low lives he's ever seen. The best part is they mean nothing to him. The only thing that matters is our lives. In our lives is John Cena, and he's 36 dates, and then he's gone. He counts down to how many dates he has used up, and he has 27 remaining. And that's not matches, it's appearances. All he has to do is show up and talk. When his dates hit 0, the professional wrestling timeline stops. When he's done, the title and all the greats that have held it will go home with him. Cena points out the hypocrisy of the fans loving Cody Rhodes a year ago, and now they boo him despite trying to save them. There is no one in WWE with the ruthless aggression of John Cena, but he has a heart. So he asks the fans to get out their cameras because it's what the last real champion looks like. As he poses, Randy Orton appears behind him. Cena turns around and eats an RKO as he says shit into the microphone. Randy Orton inspects the WWE Championship. He holds the title high in the air before setting it back down on Cena's fallen chest. What did we think of the Cena promo? The first 17 time.
You get nothing, you win nothing. Listen, me personally, I 17. Listen, look. We all knew that Cena was getting it. They wanted to push the other rope to get the agenda to get it. This was kind of quick with Randy Orton. I thought they would like do a couple things in there, but I have an idea why, because he was a man with no mission in WrestleMania. You know, he fought Joe Hendry. His opponent KO was out because of injury, and he's not going to be back. So he fought Joe Hendry just to have a WrestleMania moment. So them giving him a championship, the thing for his 15th championship now to try to get that at Backlash, which he's not going to win because we know they're gonna wait because they're gonna have John Cena hold on to this belt for about a year before they actually finally take it off.
He's only got until November, December.
Yeah, you know what? I think
over a year.
I actually think that he's gonna hold it until Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. They're gonna hold it.
I think he'll only have it until SummerSlam.
Listen, I don't think John Cena is going anywhere. I think John Cena is gonna probably stay a little bit longer than he anticipated. It makes no sense. You give him the belt.
I don't know if you listen to his promo. He told the fans, "I'm gone," yeah. And he's pretty adamant about it. So, and he said no
appearances down.
And he said on McAfee in the morning that no amount of money that any promoter can pay him is going to bring him back. And so once his clock hits 0, he's done. and that's it.
Mm.
So I don't know. I'm not gonna. Dom calls crazy shit, and so I'm not gonna doubt Dom. I'm gonna say I don't see it, but it could happen.
I see him leaving like one appearance on the counter when he leaves, so he can come back one more time for one spot. But that's it.
I mean, he said if the minute I feel like I've lost a step, I'm done, and he's clearly lost a step. He's not as quick and didn't look as polished in the ring as he used to.
No, he got his hair. He got his hair transplant. You know,
he got a hair transplant, and because people are making fun of him for his bald spot.
He said he did it because of the bullying, but look, if he holds the belt to friggin' November for Survivor Series, holds it that long to lose the belt. I can see that. I see him losing it in a year. He's gonna hold on again.
I can't see him holding it for a whole year. No,
but I can't see him losing it.
No,
that's why I said SummerSlam.
I mean, he's gonna hit his big feuds. I think he's probably gonna beat Randy. Sad to say, he's probably gonna beat Randy at Backlash, or there's gonna be some shenanigans with Randy at Backlash, and then he'll probably fight CM Punk at SummerSlam.
Roman Reigns?
Maybe Roman Reigns, but
what about Seth Rollins?
I think I honestly could see Seth getting pushed going after Jey Uso.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's gonna go after Jey Uso because I remember he had beef with him. Yeah, it's true.
This is Cena's last run, so I think people are gonna want to see his big feud. So, I mean, I could see it, but I think, he could wrestle all these guys at every PLE. He could.
You think Gunther comes back to that? Fights Cena?
No. I think Gunther's gonna get, after what he did to McAfee on Raw, and Cole choking him out. I think they're gonna be a suspension angle, and Gunther's gonna get time off.
Yeah.
I don't see them putting Gunther in the going against Cena just yet, just because they want to protect Gunther, and he's already been holding. He went from holding the Intercontinental Championship to holding the Heavyweight Championship. So I think his championship moments are going to be put on the back burner for a little bit. But I definitely see Cena versus Orton, Cena versus probably Rusev at some point again, Cena versus Punk. I think eventually for Cena to go back babyface before he retires, I think Cody's going to end up beating him. Yeah. Either at Ruthless Aggression, which is the pay-per-view they keep talking about doing for him in November, or he's going to lose it to him at Survivor Series, which is going to be at Petco Park in San Diego. So, but I could see Cody winning Money in the Bank and using on Cena, or I don't know. I don't know. I just think definitely we're going to see Cena versus Orton, Cena versus Punk again. I think that's a no-brainer, but I could see Gunther at some point. I don't see Gunther winning it, but I could see Gunther going after it, I guess. Seth Rollins, I could see him going after, but it feels like Seth Rollins is probably going to play in this feud with Roman Reigns for a while.
Yeah.
But I ultimately think that the one that's going to take the belt off Jay is probably going to be Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
Then we got a women's tag team championship rematch: Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, with Morgan Rodriguez becoming the new champions after a heel turn from Becky Lynch. Picking up a fallen Valkyria, she goes to hug her and then puts Valkyria with a clothesline, and enraged Becky beat her down and hits her with several finishers. During the break, Chad Gable tells us that El Grande Americano had a heroic performance at WrestleMania, In the true spirit of Lucha Libre, Americano persevered and is now on his victory tour. He will return soon to entertain the masses. Thank you.
Gracias.
Yeah.
Gracias.
After the New Day reminds everyone that they were the new tag team champions, Maxine Dupree and Alpha Academy somehow manages to persuade them to accept the challenge. Just as the match is about to start, Rusev returns. The New Day smartly gets out of the ring. Rusev shows us what he can do by destroying Alpha Academy in short order. I think this was a weird spot for Rusev to return. I think that Rusev should have returned during the Pat McAfee spot. And I think Rusev and Gunther should be in a feud together for a while. It would have been interesting to see Rusev come in and save McAfee when he was getting choked out. I don't really know I don't really see an angle for that, all that other than do you potentially see that leading to a McAfee Gunther match?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, God. You
see McAfee versus Gunther? Like I think that would just spell just disaster for Pat McAfee. I think he would be absolutely murdered.
I see someone stepping in for McAfee.
Well, look, I can see McAfee taking some time off again because, you got some football stuff coming up. Fight Gunther at Backlash.
I mean, he's got all summer before football doesn't start
football
until
doesn't start
August.
till
September, so
Yeah.
he's got all summer still, but I just I don't know if I want to see a McAfee versus Gunther match.
Oh, I don't know.
But I would have much rather seen Rusev come in there to make the save. But yeah, I just felt like that
wouldn't fit into his character though, having Rusev save.
Well, I mean, we don't know what Rusev's going to be. Is he going to be heel? Is he going to be babyface? What's he going to be?
Or you just beat the shit out of Alpha Academy. I think he's bad.
He makes a big statement coming back, that's a good point too, Dom. I didn't think about that, but I think he makes a good statement coming back and beating up Gunther, who is just world heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes a good feud, but we'll have to see where that goes. Then Finn Balor congratulated Dominic Mysterio on his IC title win. He will join him later tonight during his defense against Penta. Io Sky says that last night was the best night in her career. She beat Belair and Ripley, which means she's the best and no one will forget her. Stephanie Valkyrie makes her entrance. She congratulates Io Sky to the win before introducing herself as the NXT Women's Champion. She wants to come out here and show her respect, but she also wants to fight the best. Io accepts. What about right here, right now? They're interrupted by Adam Pearce, and I thought Adam Pearce was going to be a dork at that point, not have the match. But the fact that he did was cool. And he asked everyone if they wanted the match, and in the response, yes, let's do it. We got Io Sky versus Stephanie Valkyrie with a no contest win. Let me just say, I said it before we started, but I've never seen the color of blue. It looks so good on Monday Night Raw.
I know.
The match was interrupted by Roxanne Perez and Julia. After Roxanne Perez and Julia attacked Sky and Valkyrie, Rhea Ripley arrives to scare them off. Julia takes some time to look at her in the future before she gets out of the ring. Ripley picks up the women's championship and gives it to Io Sky and tells her, "I'm coming for that." Jey Uso is out next. And after that, a lot of yeeting. The fans asked to do it one more time. And so they got back into yeeting. And then when he was done, he yeeted all over the place. Probably impregnated some women with all his yeet. Jay tells everyone the World Heavyweight Championship is now in your city. He's here now. It has been a long, hard road, though. He gave all he had to beat Gunther and made him tap. Jay is very grateful to have the title on his shoulder, so he'll put the work in every week, like he always has. Sami Zayn enters. When he gets to the ring, he gives Jay a hug. When I heard Sami Zayn's music, I was like, "Oh, here we go." Here comes my other prediction that Sami's going to come out and turn on Jay.
Yep.
No, not quite.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Yet. Can still happen.
And then Sami Zayn said he was struggling on being sidelined, and then he almost didn't come to Las Vegas, but he had to be the first one to congratulate Jay and tell him how proud he is. Jay deserves it, and everyone in the arena knows he does. We're here to celebrate, so let's hit Jay's music. Jimmy Uso comes out to join them. Nice that Jimmy gave his brother the spotlight instead of trying to hog it and be part of it. He waited his turn.
That's cool.
Then we got a backstage segment where AJ Styles admits that he got distracted and will take the loss to Logan Paul. A frustrated Karrion Kross interrupts him and says that he is the best of them. So losing to Paul has legitimized him. Styles is adamant that him using the brass knuckles would have meant nothing, and he doesn't want to go back to hate the guy he sees in the mirror. If Kross wants to be angry at the world, he should sort that out by himself. After Styles leaves, Kross says he will do that. Come on, give Karrion Kross something to do.
Yeah, give a good push, man. Give a good push.
During the break, A-Town Down Under thanks Rusev and talks about how Alpha Academy and the New Day, while declaring themselves the #1 contenders, the War Raiders interrupt them and take on the microphone. The New Day stole the titles from them, so they're here to remind them that Raw is war. And just before we come back from the break, Gunther shows up at ringside with a microphone. The War Raiders don't need another title shot. I don't want to.
I thought we were done with that. I thought that they had to.
I thought we were done with this automatic rematch.
Exactly, because they gave the automatic championship to Liv and Rodriguez. I thought that once you lose, you have to start over again and and work your way to get back to that point.
They make sense because they have no women's tag team division.
Yeah,
so there's no, it makes sense. But
I know, but still, I don't know, man.
It's just painful that.
Yeah.
Gunther doesn't like Michael Cole saying he tapped out, so he pushes McAfee and gets a sleeper hold on Cole. Pat McAfee comes to Cole's rescue as Adam Pearce and the officials rush the ringside. Gunther goes after McAfee, putting him to sleep and a sleeper hold, and refuses to let him go for a long time. When he finally does, he leaves through the crowd. Michael Cole and officials help McAfee to the back.
You see the guys, Michael Cole's, Pat McAfee's friends?
Yeah.
They jumped out. They're holding them back. Come on. You're holding them back as freaking goddamn Gunther's continue to do it. And I love how they hold people back. I let the thing happen. And it's like, you're not even holding the guy back. Come on.
McAfee said that on his show on Tuesday. He was like, look at him holding my boys back. Why are you holding them back instead of getting this goon off of me?
Exactly.
As we see Pat McAfee attended it to, Michael Cole asks Adam Pearce how they can do their jobs if they aren't allowed to share their opinions and have fun out there. Pearce says he can have the night off, but Cole tells him no, he won't be forced away by a bully. This is WrestleMania week, and he's got to go back out there and do his job. Which, good on Michael Cole for coming back out.
Company man right there. Company man.
Yes, sir. Then we got our Intercontinental Championship, Dominic Mysterio versus Penta, with Dominic Mysterio picking up the win with an assist from a returning JD McDonough. I'm not going to call him McDumbass or McDumma because he deserves our respect after he bounced his giant noggin off the table and finished the match.
Absolutely. Yeah, finish that match.
Then we got the moment of the night as Seth Rollins makes it. We only got 3 wrestling matches on Raw. Seth Rollins makes his way to the ring with Paul Heyman. He says he took Roman Reigns as wise man, CM Punk's best friend, and he won the main event of WrestleMania. Before he could say much else, an angry CM Punk enters the ring for a fight. During this, Punk is distracted by Heyman enough to end up having his eyes raked and his head stomped into the mat. Paul Heyman gets a microphone and tells us there's a new undisputed #1 star in the industry, and his name is Seth freaking Rollins. Roman Reigns' music plays and the OTC arrives. Rollins eats a spear, and Heyman gets a Superman punch. As Rollins sets up for a spear for Heyman, he is speared by a man in a hoodie. The man is Braun Breaker. Rollins looks confused. Braun runs past him again and spears Punk. Rollins reveals that Breaker is his guy now, and they are working together. Rollins and Breaker destroy Punk and Reigns with multiple spears and stomps, and this new stable celebrates the night's work. Do you think the spear on Carlito across the 2 announce tables deserves the same kind of praise that his spear on Carlito 2 weeks ago on Raw got?
Yes.
You do?
I do.
I think for the spear spots we've had, that the spear across the 2 tables was kind of weak compared to the
it's not as good, but I think it still deserves praise.
Braun Breaker freaking speared the shit out of Roman too. Yeah, through the wall.
Yes,
So-
he did through the barricade.
The barricade.
Beat
So
shit out of him.
you know,
Mhm.
this looks very interesting. This whole dynamic: Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman. You know, this looks it could have the potential of being something big. You know, for the next year or the next few months, of how they want to do it, what they're gonna do. You know, as much as we talk about The Rock, this still could be part of The Rock because remember, Paul Heyman has a deal with The Rock. That this could be a whole thing The Rock's doing. The Rock comes back, you know, who knows? But I hope not. I just hope Paul Heyman puts together his little stable, calls it the Heyman 4. I don't know, some shit. You know, 4 by Heyman.
The 4 Heymans.
The 4 Heymans, yeah. You know,
Paul and the 4 Heymans.
you know. So we'll see. Like I said, you know, have the first Heyman girl in Becky Lynch, and then one more guy. I actually I still think that the one more guy could be coming from NXT. I don't, you know.
I mean, I could see Ethan Page doing it. I don't think you're far off
I know,
about
I-
potential
Ethan
Ethan Page.
I don't. I just think that he would fit in that whole dynamic.
He would.
Definitely.
Absolutely, 100%. You get no argument from me, Dom. I'm not going to question you anymore because you just you get the calls right. Maybe not necessarily at the right time, but what you say does come to fruition. And I'm not gonna fight you about it. I could see Ethan Page doing it. I could see Ethan Page coming up to join the Paul Heyman faction more than I could see him joining anything to do with The Rock. I could see Ricky Starks joining that faction as well. I could see Drew McIntyre joining that faction. I mean, there's a lot of superstars I could see joining that faction.
Nope.
Dom's booking from the year 3000.
How about R-Truth? R-Truth could join that faction and not be a comedy character anymore.
I still get names wrong.
That'd be a change for R-Truth, right?
It's still
You're right.
names wrong.
But overall, what did you guys think of the Raw after Mania?
I give it an A. I don't give it an A minus. I don't give it an A plus. I give it an A. There was some, you know, the Stephanie Vakira thing coming in, fighting Io Sky. I thought that was fantastic. You know, it's fantastic how they brought her up there to fight the best in Raw, because she's the best in NXT. You see how that dynamic goes, and they got a big pop. And then having Roxanne and Julia come in to attack them, I think that was pretty ballsy. You know, you bring the 2 best females in the thing, in Julia and Stephanie, to see what they'll look like on the main roster, and I actually think they'll fit perfectly in the main roster. You know, and not to freaking put in shame on freaking Roxanne Perez. I think Roxanne is going to be great too, but I just like the pop that Stephanie and Julia got, just being there, and then Julia eyeing Rhea Ripley, and they're looking at each other back and forth. So I like that dynamic, and the future looks very bright. I think that's great. So I give it an A. You know, the Braun Breaker thing, I thought that was pretty cool. I like the fact that, you know, we're building this faction that's going to be a pretty badass faction. We don't know who else is in this faction until the further notice. And, you know, like I said, only 3 matches. You had some promos. Was it the best after WrestleMania? No. But I give it an A. I give it an A.
Styx?
Yeah, I didn't feel it was the best at coming off of WrestleMania, but then again, WrestleMania wasn't the best going into WrestleMania.
It was better than WrestleMania, I can say that.
It was
It was
better.
definitely better than night 1 of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I will say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I'll give it an A as well. The promos were good. Some of the stuff, the other stuff we got with Heyman, and then Orton and Vakir and that were good. So I'll give it an A as well.
I give it an A+. It was a solid show. It was a good No, actually, I'm gonna give it, just an A. I think I'm gonna give it an A because I was a little disappointed that the crowd doesn't seem to be in it. There weren't more returns. I think the Rusev return was a little mishandled and could have been done differently.
Yeah.
You only got 3 matches on a Raw after WrestleMania. Your big returns were what? JD McDonough, the debut of Rusev,
Becky Lynch turning heel.
Becky Lynch turning heel. Crowd didn't really try to hijack the show. There wasn't a lot of like.
Well,
you thought maybe they would have got wild during the John Cena stuff.
I mean, technically, they're still in Vegas, so technically, it's still the same crowd.
Yeah. Well, usually the Raw after Mania is in the same town as Mania, so
yeah, right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you get the same crowd,
and they gave you the same response they gave at Mania. Not much.
And again, the crowd in Stand and Deliver was 100 times better than what we got for that whole weekend.
Yep. Speaking of Stand and Deliver, we'll move on to Tuesday's NXT for the results of April 22nd, 2025. The fallout from Stand and Deliver. WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match opened the show with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez retaining over Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley by pinfall. Lexis King wants to take the Heritage Cup back from Penn and Teller. Their conditions are for King to admit magic is real and also defend the championship tonight. Backstage, Miles Bourne backs up Javon Evans opposite Dark State to set up a tag team match for later. Ricky Saints cut a promo about retaining his North American Championship title at Stand and Deliver over Ethan Page. Lexis King interrupts and wants to face Saints in a title-for-title match next week, but Saints reminded him that he has to defend it tonight first, which I'll love to see that match. I can't wait to see Lexis King versus Ricky Saints. Backstage, Hank Walker and Tank Ledger, Sol Ruca, and Zariah were talking when Thea Hale excitedly approached them and congratulated them on their title win. Jada Parker, Kalani Jordan, and Fatal Influence all scoffed at all this, and JC Jane walked off with Nix to leave Fallon Henley behind them. The NXT Heritage Cup match, Noah Dar defeated Lexis King by pinfall to win the championship. I don't know why they just put that Heritage Cup thing is so stupid, and I don't understand why they put it back on Noam Dar. Roxanne Perez was interviewed backstage about her upcoming title match against Stephanie Vakir. Thea Hale defeated Fallon Henley by submission. Obafemi put over Javon Evans as a great future prospect and even praised Trick Williams, who came out to once again challenge Femi to a one-on-one match. Joe Hendry was there to save us all from seeing this match again, and he made a surprise appearance to call out Williams on his attitude. Trick said he doesn't belong and to let the big dogs talk. Stax talked up Luca out on the side of the road. Had that whole little promo about Stax asking Luca if he knew why he invited him out there. And he said no, and it was cut back to implying that he's been 86th. After the commercial break, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez decided to talk some trash to Sol Ruca and Zariah to tease a potential tag team title match to come. So now what, we're just going to have them, it looks like they're just going to be on NXT defending these titles now. Backstage, Trick Williams was throwing around chairs and equipment, and the feed cut out. And we had Dark State defeat Javon Evans and Miles Bourne by pinfall. No quarter catch crew. Charlie Dempsey and Heights shrugged and shook their heads while watching Bourne take the pin, which would indicate some issues with the group. Sean Spears spoke to Ava and thanked her for her time, as he's just looking out for his friends. These NXT backstage segments. There's so much NXT backstage stuff. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wrestling matches and a lot of backstage crap. We saw Ethan Page approach Ricky Saints backstage and provide a distraction so that Lexis King could jump Saints, as he blames him for how he just lost the Heritage Cup. Chase University takes off a Chase University shirt a shirt out of his briefcase. It says that Chase U is officially back. Why? I felt like that stable was dumb. And then the NXT Women's Championship match, Stephanie Vaquer retained over Roxanne Perez by pinfall. Julia then came out to stare Vaquer down on the entrance ramp, and Jordan Grace was in the crowd to do the same.
Yeah. Up in the box there. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
What did you think of NXT this week, guys?
I give NXT an A+. An A+. I think that it had a good premise after Stand Deliver. I think that it had a building up the tension between Julia, Jordan Grace with the championship. I think there's a lot going on there with with Stephanie. I think the fallout with the family, I think overall, I actually think that NXT is a better produced product than Raw and SmackDown sometimes.
I agree.
It definitely every week it gets better and better. So I enjoyed it. A+. I can't wait to see some of these people come up in the main roster. I just don't want them to get buried, because they're getting good quality TV time and good pushes and NXT. But you can't deny the fact Stephanie, Julia, Jordan, Trick, Ethan Page, all those guys, all those people definitely have to get a push to the main roster. Then we'll see.
Yeah. I don't know if I give it an A+. I'm definitely going to give it an A. For everything that Dom said, NXT.
God damn it, be original and have your own opinion. Quit just taking Dom's.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm still saying that NXT is the best brand they've got going right now, and they're very consistent on the programming. The Netflix Raw stuff has been, it's not even up and down. It's been on a steady decline, and SmackDown kind of flatlined. They're not really doing anything great.
This week on SmackDown, we got Aleister Black coming back.
We'll see what. Hopefully going forward they can build. I don't know. I think I'd hate to say it, but I'm wondering if a lot of steam got taken out of them with everything going on at WrestleMania. Rock not being part of the show kind of killed the vibe they had going forward and what they wanted to do. So,
yeah,
we'll see.
So we'll give it an A.
A solid A, yeah.
Okay.
I give it an A-. I feel like coming out of Stand and Deliver, it could have been a little bit better. You could have got some more stuff. You just had Stephanie working again because she's a workhorse for that company. So is Julia. I wish they would figure out what's going on with Roxanne, whether she's getting called up or not. There's so much backstage stuff. I wish they would do a little bit more in-action wrestling than all these backstage segments. And like I said, the Heritage Cup stuff is kind of lame. And he carried around a giant hockey trophy looking thing instead of a title belt.
That's the Art Ross trophy. Here, come on.
Yeah, but I'm ready for what's next on NXT to see where this goes. And they really didn't do a whole lot to set up a lot of new storylines, but I can't be that mad at it. So I think A-. It was a solid show. It could have been better. I kind of feel like every show. I'm interested to see what SmackDown's like tomorrow night. I feel like every show could have been a little bit better coming out of WrestleMania. But as you said, that WrestleMania could have been a little bit better itself.
Yeah.
So,
But dude, look how much wrestling we got this week.
so much.
Yeah, so much, man.
Too much.
So give or take, yes, it may not been on the par of what we were hoping, but we got some really good entertainment. Like I said, it was fun, a fun weekend, a fun whole week of stuff. Yes, a lot of disappointments with certain things that we we were hoping and we didn't get. But overall, man, we got a nice long week of wrestling. Man. We got so much wrestling, so many different views of
Stephanie's booty.
Yeah. And she did things on purpose because she knows everybody comes to see that. And that move is definitely always going to be because people love that move.
Apparently, Charlotte liked it too. So
Some say
if I ever run into
had to change his pants 4 times this weekend.
If I ever run into an event, I'm going to ask, can you do that to me? Security?
Haul this one away, please.
Yeah, security, get this guy out of here.
But that does it for us this week. So much wrestling to talk about. So much WrestleMania rants. I'm tired after ranting about The Rock. Wore me out.
Well, listen, next week we'll get back to the memorabilia prices and get back to Spotlight. We'll try to get back and do a couple of things and maybe add something new to the mix.
Yeah, tweak it up a little bit.
Yeah,
excited to see where we're at the end of WrestleMania. Excited to see where we go to lead us to WrestleMania 42 and Nolans. And yeah, look forward to what's going on in SmackDown tomorrow night. But make sure to check out more from Styx and Dom over on Renovision. You can find them in our channel section below where they'll be on the Qualified tomorrow night. Dom makes a triumphant return to the Qualified after last week. Got a message from our buddy Tyson, who helps me out with the Who Said It stuff in the Dom game. And he said, the Qualified just isn't the same without Dom. It's not as funny without Dom. So Dom returns to the Qualified tomorrow night over on Renovision. Yeah. Styx is good as always. Styx and me are back on Saturday nights over on Renovision and here on S&S this week. You can catch Dom Sunday nights on the Star Wars show. I think he's going to be talking about Andor. I know he was you're not talking about Andor?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
You're shaking your head. I was like, Dom was like a dog with his red rocket hanging out, talking about Andor before we started the show.
I can't wait to talk about it because I think that it's worth talking about and it's the best shit on TV. I'll be honest with you, man. It is awesome.
It was good.
You can catch Styx on Tuesday nights on his channel for his Doctor Who Rewind. And you can check out more from me right here on the Absolute Geek channel and all of my shorts. We got Best and Worst Comments of the Week. We got Wednesday pickups. And right back here next Thursday for more wrestling goodness right here on Off the Mat. Dom, take us away. End our WrestleMania week with some good words of wisdom.
Well, it was a long week. A lot happened all over the place. But at least everybody got together to watch wrestling and had a good time enjoying the matches and enjoying the fun festivities. Thank God we weren't at WrestleMania. Did you see that crowd that let out of the arena? Holy shit. You couldn't get an Uber. There was no Ubers, no cabs, no nothing. It was just a sea of people. And here's the word to wisdom. It is not worth it paying the money that they were asking for WrestleMania when you can sit home and watch it in the comfort of your own home. Yes, I know the experience is like no other, but believe me, after this debacle with the prices, I think it might go down and you might have a better chance of getting tickets for events later on down the road.
Let's hope.
And there's my words.
Fun fact is I was talking to my wife. I'm a 4-hour drive from Vegas, living in Phoenix. And I was talking to my wife. I was like, man, I want to go to WrestleMania. Tickets are going down. She was like, just go. You don't ever want to do anything like that. Just buy it and go. And after night one, I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't waste the money to go to WrestleMania because it was bad. But I want to shout out Shadow Play, new in the chat tonight. Gas Mask, new in the chat tonight.
Thank you.
Couple other ones. Zaggy, what's up, the Zaggy? Thank you for everyone who stopped in tonight and said what's up and left comments. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you everyone who's tuned into all of our wrestling programs over the last weekend and joined us for the live stream of night one of WrestleMania, watch party. We might have to do that again for other PLEs, maybe Backlash. I don't know. It was a lot of fun sitting there watching wrestling with Styx and talking about the matches and stuff. So definitely have to do that again soon and get Dom in on it finally, since he wasn't able to join us since he had family stuff going on. But thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoy our wrestling content. And if you do, make sure to check out all the other wrestling content we have on the channel. It's probably going to be linked here after our beautiful faces are gone. And yeah, until next time, enjoy the rest of the week of wrestling. Have a great night. And we'll see you right back here next Thursday for another episode of Off.
I love you, Stephanie.
Ditto.
In the ring, the lights go down. Roaring crowd, they scream and shout. Chants echo, shaking the ground. Warriors clash, the game is found.